socks older than he is.
We'll call this meeting to order. We have a quorum present, the regular scheduled meeting for the November 24th, and leading us in invocation day will be Magistrate Jason Cullen.
Our most kind, gracious Heavenly Father, we are so grateful to be gathered here today as a body to represent this great county that we have here in Boyle County. We ask that you will impart us with knowledge and wisdom, that we may make decisions mindful of all those within our county, that we will do so in a way that's pleasing to you and to the citizens of Boyle County. Please watch over us as we continue to battle through the many storms that have come before us, and we ask for your guidance and a way out that will help us to salvage as many of those in this county as possible, that their lives will be spared, and that we will be able to help comfort those families and friends that have lost people already. Please protect those on the front line, our first responders, our police, and our military. Watch over them as they continue to serve, putting themselves in harm's way to protect others. Please help the families of those that are serving, that they will be safe as well. And we say these things in the name of thy loving Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Please join me and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Next, we need to approve the minutes from the prior meeting. Make a motion for approval.
Second.
Motion made by Magistrate Sammons and seconded by Magistrate Cullen to approve the minutes. Comments, discussions?
Couple, sir. Under Magistrate Kaywood, page 3, third line down, it's either a misinterpretation or a typo, I'm not sure, but we don't have an EDP foundation. We were talking about BCIF. Magistrate Sammons, you see where I am?
That's Kaywood.
Excuse me. Forgive me. Magistrate Kaywood. Third line under
You should take that personal.
where it says EDP Foundation, it should be BCIF Foundation. Because there is no EDP Foundation.
No, it's BCIF Foundation.
Okay.
I missed it.
Commonly referred to as the foundation.
Right, so you could either strike EDP or put in front of it BCIF to be accurate.
Yeah. That's picky stuff, Tom.
I'm sorry?
Nothing.
This is under Magistrate Kaywood, third line down in his paragraph, right?
On page 3.
Right at the very bottom with the Magistrate Kaywood.
I think the simplest would be strike EDP. It'll be understood. That really is anything significant.
Boy, I'm missing it. I don't see it.
Right down here on the bottom, right down.
Page 3.
Page right here.
Yeah.
Page 3. What else, Ronnie?
Right in here, right in the middle of that. Page 3.
I think it's already been
It's already been changed.
it's already been corrected on one I'm looking at.
Yeah.
You have a backup. You have a backup one that they just handed out.
Yes. Moving right along.
What else?
That's it.
All right. Motion, any further discussion? Motion to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, and motion carries. Thank you. All right, next on our agenda is we need to approve some bills, and, I guess we're waiting on Miss Mariah.
Mariah?
Judge, what we're waiting for,
Mm-hmm.
I just have a quick question on the handout that we got this morning.
Okay,
Sorry, on my computer, you're still discussing the minutes.
there's like a few second delay or something.
I think it's longer than a few seconds.
Mariah, I have one quick question before you get started on the handout this morning, this little two-sheet.
Yes.
What's the, it says Boyle County Fiscal Court overdraft protection, $7,146.15. What's an overdraft protection?
That would be a Keagan question. He gave those to me to put in.
When Mary was still here with me, and we had those 2 court meetings in September backed up, and we got off on the bills a little bit. The money came in and checks were going out, and they kind of passed in the mail. We had an overdraft, and they just automatically put money from the general fund into the joint jail fund. I'm gonna have to pay that back to the general fund. So that's what that is.
Okay, so we're all right.
Yeah.
We're all good.
Well, it was just timing, it was a timing unfortunate.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And that's
Okay.
when Mary was leaving and stuff was real crazy, so.
They don't teach you how to balance checkbooks in the
Yeah,
county?
Hey, she was checking my work, you know, I guess I'm throwing her under the bus a little bit, but yeah, that's what happened, but it's all good, it won't happen again.
All right, what do you got for us?
Okay. So for the standing orders, can you hear me fine?
Yes.
Okay. Standing orders, the total is $319,803.69. And for the bills to be approved to be paid is $2,204,256.98.
Move we pay the bills as presented.
Okay, motion made to approve the bills, Magistrate Gaines, second by Magistrate Short. Discussion, comments, inquiries? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, motion carries. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right,
Thank you, Mariah.
now Keagan is up, and he will address first our budget transfers.
They're highlighted in pink at the top, I believe. We had 3 in the general fund, and one of them was for the election tabulators. One was for COVID sick pay, and the other one was for COVID expenses. And then there was one more from the joint jail account, and that was for COVID salaries. So those are the budget transfers for this time.
Move we approve the budget transfers as presented.
Second.
All right, motion to approve the budget transfers as presented by Magistrate Gaines, second by Magistrate Sammons. Discussions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. All right, next. Motion carries. Cash transfers.
We only have one cash transfer this time, and it's EMS from the general fund for $60,000.
Move we approve the cash transfer as presented.
All right. Motion made by Magistrate Gaines, and second by Magistrate Short to approve the cash transfer of $60,000 EMS from the general fund. Questions, comments, discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Keagan, real quick, how do we stand as far as COVID money, emergency funds, and all of those things as we move into the winter here and realizing that we've got a lot of tough days ahead of us as far as COVID-related expenses and those kind of
So are you asking me, I guess?
About CARES Act
Yeah,
reimbursement or
are we
what?
getting reimbursed, or?
do we have any funds?
So we're pretty much gonna be used up on the reimbursement. We'll be able to.
Probably by the end of this month.
Yeah, easily.
Right, correct.
So that the CARES money is all taken care of, and we got the full reimbursement for that. There's about $135,000 left to submit for it.
So we have already expended obligations to go against that request.
So
So it'll zero out.
Yes,
Yeah.
So
no
we'll-
doubt about it.
At the end of this month, so in other words, we have our emergency fund of like $200,000
Right.
that we would start using until we can get some other type of relief
Right.
package.
Or that, yeah, cause I'm sure that they'll be coming out with some other type of money for the.
Well, by the way, if y'all really wanna know, and we can get Rusty to come in here, but the FEMA rules on FEMA reimbursements have changed dramatically and not advantageous to applicants.
And we're not gonna get as much money as we thought there, because of the changes. So Rusty's been working on that. I gave it to him sometime last month, so he's been doing the whole process for that, so. I can't, do you remember how much exactly he said he was thinking we were gonna get back?
I do not right now.
I just know it had changed, and he didn't think we were gonna be getting nowhere near as much as we had thought, but it's not a said done deal yet, so.
Well, I think that is something we need to be looking at and exploring and
Oh, yeah,
getting our hands around what
Well,
our options are, because it's gonna, as we know, it's gonna get worse before it gets better. And so
Well,
we
I
got a
think he's
lot.
on top of it, we've got to, the last of December.
Last of December, but we will well beat any suspense on the end of the calendar year on FEMA. But from what he told me, what it was 60 days ago, it's nowhere near that now, and it dramatically affected what we can get back in a huge way. We weren't gonna get a whole lot back out of FEMA, which takes months.
Yeah,
Get back, it's not like CARES.
always takes a long time.
So, but anyway, we have a plan, and we're working on it. Do you want a brief from him next court session? We can do that.
That would be good,
All right.
Yeah.
yeah.
But
I like-
they say the vaccine's coming, so.
Well, it's coming, it won't have a real impact until next summer, though, before we get vaccinated to a level that's gonna make a difference. But
Right.
it's coming, and that's a huge deal, and that's positive news,
Well,
that's
it
for
saved a
sure.
lot of lives, you're right.
Absolutely, but it's
Yeah.
gonna take some time to get that. We gotta get people to trust the vaccination first and foremost.
42% don't wanna take a shot.
I won't be first in line.
Yeah.
I
so-
will.
I will too. As soon as it's available for me, I'll be there.
Okay.
Only
Thank
thing,
you. Thank you.
See you guys
I'd
shortly.
I'd like
Thanks.
to, I know it doesn't pertain to this court, but I thought it's kinda interesting, I don't think, Judge, you've laid anybody off, have you, in the county? during
No,
this?
sir.
Well,
I'm not.
I'm chairman of the Unemployment Insurance Board's KCO, which we pay the fees, Judge, you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
We got a lick this week, 1,200,000. So a lot of counties are letting a lot of people off, so we're one county that's real fortunate with good leadership we got, I guess you might say.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. But it is important because people, my focus, and you saw the article in the paper, is to not put employees or patrons of the courthouse at risk. And so we've done a deep cleanse, and we're doing the shields, the sneeze shields, we're doing the mask, we're doing the separation, we're doing the temperature scans on everybody comes in through one entry control point into the courthouse. So we're doing those things that are prudent and advised. And hopefully it will bear fruit and be received. I think so far it's been received very well by most people.
Yeah, that's important, because I guess, it's just so important, and we still do have the ability to beat it back as much as we can, and it's just a simple thing of wearing a mask, and it's not complicated and not hard to do, and I just hope we will really strongly encourage everyone, because I keep saying it, and everybody keeps saying this, if we can get 80 to 90% of the people wearing their mask all the time when they're in public, we can make a real difference in this, and we can still continue to function in
Save
that
a
way.
lot of lives.
Save a lot of lives, and we can function, and we're gonna need to do that as we get through the winter and get to the vaccination points that are coming soon.
Moving right along.
All right.
I'm concerned, I know the mask is helping us some, but I think as long as you keep your distance from people, like we should, then, I don't think it's.
And I appreciate you saying that, Measure
They're
Short, 'cause
saying that, that the mask don't help that much, but I think the distance and stuff is, so.
Contrary to what is being said at a state level, restaurants are not the ones that are truly passing along the problems here. It's from talking with local health department people, it's people at home, and when you're at home, you don't wear your mask or whatever. But restaurants are actually probably your better place because constantly washing hands, constantly cleaning up. I know the CDC director just said that schools are where kids should be because they're better there. They're wearing masks, they're separated or whatever. But masks, I don't love them, but we wear them. Distance, yes, but the simple thing of washing your hands is going to really help this.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
And I appreciate you all mentioning all of those because it's those three combined.
Well, the
It's
masks
mask
get
wearing,
more of a
distancing and washing your hands.
I think people have
Those are the three
put
things.
too much emphasis on the mask. The mask will help some, but they're not the type of mask that we need. So
Well, I
anyway,
think I disagree with you in a way, because the mask, I'm sitting here and if I pull my mask off and I'm talking and these, diseases probably are flying out to somebody else. You're the judge is picking up when I say something. You know what I mean? I've got my mask on, I'm holding it in.
Yeah, it's
So,
all three.
I'm
It's all
protecting-
three. It's all
Exactly
three.
right. Mask,
Distance,
distance, and
wash your
washing
hands.
Yep.
Right.
Do those things. We
Phil
can beat it
talking
back.
less. How about that?
We can beat it back, and it is
We're
important.
off track here, guys.
Judge,
Yeah.
You got it.
Okay. Gathering place, you have a handout. Anybody have any questions regarding the handout from the gathering place? Senior Activity Center, Adult Daycare.
My
we got a new-
anxiety is over the top here with all these papers. So, which one is it?
Yeah, we've got a new one
Looks
too.
like
Thank you. Okay, I knew I saw it in here somewhere. You know what? You show up for court on time, then you can heckle me, okay?
All right. Does anybody have any questions, comments that we need to,
That's a good chart he's put out. I like that.
respond to Ben Guerrant?
No, sir. Moving
Being
right
none,
along.
we'll move on to the next one. Shannon Greene is off right now, ill, and we have two compensatory time agreements that the court needs to.
Make a motion, we approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Magistrate Cullen, seconded by Magistrate Sammons to approve compensatory time agreements. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, motion carries. Thank you for that.
Shannon doesn't have the, COVID-19, does she?
Can't talk.
I won't answer that question right now.
Okay.
But, request approval of a hire, which is a part-time hire, okay, let me be clear, of Kayla Good, animal shelter cleaner, effective Wednesday, November 25th, at $8.75 an hour.
Make
a
that
motion to
motion.
approve it.
Okay, motion to approve the part-time hire of Kayla Good by Magistrate Sammons, second by Magistrate Short. Any comments, questions, or discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, motion carries. Thank you for that.
Judge,
Yes, sir.
if we could move back to what Shannon, if she was here, might recommend, I believe we have a meeting at 10 o'clock on Monday to sign up for health insurance.
Okay,
This is a reminder to everybody, I think that's what she would have
so
said
a reminder.
if she was here.
And that will be out
Here.
at the governor's, here,
Here.
okay.
As
I
in this
remember
room?
it's here.
Yes,
You said fiscal.
Does everybody
courtroom,
remember?
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Is that
Right here.
correct, Julie?
The sign up for health insurance here Wednesday?
Yes, next week.
Okay.
Monday, I believe it's Monday. I've got down Monday the 30th.
That's what it's in my emails, Monday, 30th.
That's mine. So it's just a reminder
Yeah.
for everybody.
Well, one thing says the 31st and the other says 30th. Now,
Well,
There is no
There is
31st.
no 31st, so it'll be the 30th.
we had,
Yeah, fiscal court is.
something
10
in here
o'clock
says
on Monday.
31st.
At 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Call me, Joe.
Question there real quick.
Yes, sir.
If you don't have, I mean, do you have to come if you don't use the county's insurance?
No,
Well, if you wanted to sign up for that 18 or
the
2400.
HRA,
Yeah.
if you want that.
I've already got that, I mean, I already signed.
Do you not have to sign something saying you turn it down?
I think
Yeah,
you do.
you do.
Even I turn it down, you have to sign,
I think you do, but don't hold me to it, but I think you do,
If
Roger.
I try to call her and,
I'll check with her
Yeah.
and let you know.
yeah, let me
Okay?
know,
I
'cause-
will.
okay, thank you, I'm sorry.
All right, Mike Rogers is here, and he is requesting approval to hire Sara Bugg, who is familiar with Boyle County, to a full-time paramedic position. Explainer.
Yeah, we had a,
Everything.
we have a full-time, Ben Guerrant that, he, stepped away from EMS for a little while so he could take care of some
Microphone.
family. Sorry. We're gonna requesting to replace him with, Sara Bugg. She's a paramedic. She did her a field internship with us, so she's very familiar with.
Mike, I'm sorry to
Yes,
interrupt
sir.
you.
No, go ahead.
Who is she? I didn't get the name. Who's she
Ben
replacing?
Fuselier.
He hadn't been with us but a
He'd
little
only been a little over a year.
over a year.
Ben has been with us, and he stepped away so he could take care of some family things, and so we're just going to request to consider hiring Sara Bugg.
Now, is
Okay.
Sara, Sara, are you the one that was in a training for a while? She's not the one.
No,
Okay,
no, that's
I'm sorry.
Amanda Taylor that we sent. She's working for us still. She works tomorrow.
But Sara did
She's
do some
doing
ride along with us during her
Yeah,
process of certification.
she did.
Okay,
Her field
I thought the
internship
name
she
was
did with
familiar,
us.
yes.
So,
Make a motion to approve it.
I'll
Well-
second that.
the pay will be $11.78 effective today.
Make a motion to approve it.
All right, motion to approve, made by Magistrate Simmons, seconded by Magistrate Cullen. Any other questions, comments, discussion? Sara's here in her presence.
7:24, so are you gonna head back and jump right in the bus since you're starting today?
The motor's running.
The motor's running out back, but, okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Congratulations.
Sara,
Welcome and be safe.
congratulations on being a paramedic. I know it's
Yeah,
hard to say.
we appreciate.
Yes, we do.
I do have one more thing, just to ask about, so do we change the date for the next court meeting in December? Is that what we did? Or
Correct.
What about our committee meeting? Are we gonna, do we need to move that date too? It's typically before the court meeting.
We will move that also.
Yeah, John, you fine with that?
That's fine.
Yeah, we'll see you beforehand. With the 17th is what we're meeting.
Okay.
Director Rogers, can you address the court as you were before the meeting about your crew and how they're holding up with the pandemic?
Yeah, we're obviously seeing a lot of COVID patients. We transported a lot yesterday. We did have one out that was out for, one full-timer out for 10 days, and then we had 2 part-timers that were out. But we think we've isolated that. It's been over 2 weeks, so we think we've isolated that. We're keeping up with good, procedures on deconning the trucks, and we have a lot of good PPE that the crews are able to use. I would just encourage the public to listen to the governor's request over the holiday, because we don't want to overrun our health system. We are seeing a lot of sick patients, so.
Michael, do you have shields also, or are you wearing a mask?
Yes, sir. I will get a picture of what we look like when we're, fully dressed in our PPE, but we wear a gown that goes over, it's an isolation gown that goes over us.
Yes.
We wear a P100 mask, which they have like the pancake filters that you see a lot of time in industry, and then a splash shield with goggles, and it's a little bit awkward moving around in it, but you get used to it, I guess, after a while. So.
Do you wipe down or spray or both?
We do both. We spray, and then we let that sit for 2-3 minutes, and we go back and wipe down.
The cab as well?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Good.
sir. We partition. There's a place to close the doors on the front, so we close that. Put the vent on in the back, and turn the air on, try to keep that pressure moving.
So you have separate venting?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So.
Mike,
Yes, sir.
I have us meeting on the 8th at 8 a.m., not the 22nd. Is that,
Well, our meeting is usually the first court meeting of the month.
which
so-
would be the 8th?
Yeah. So are we still on for that date?
We're still on for the
Okay.
8th. This was because we were going
The
to,
8th did not change.
Okay.
just
yeah, the
second one.
22nd.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that I had it right in my phone, so I didn't forget
Okay,
about it.
yeah, I just,
So we're still on for the 8th.
we're on for the 8th, yes,
At
sir.
8 o'clock.
Okay.
What is the status of the hospital right now?
I don't know if he should be given the answer.
I don't
Yeah,
know either.
I'm not sure. I mean, I know they're making, they have plans to make more room for more COVID beds. But, I can request to see if Dr. Grant would like to come speak on that,
Yeah,
because
I
I
think
don't,
that'd be better.
I wouldn't want to try to speak for the hospital,
Right.
even though we're good
Yeah.
partners, but I don't have
Yep.
that information from me, so.
I think
Thank
this
you.
thing's supposed to peak about the 1st of December, isn't it?
I think so. I mean,
We can start flattening the curve there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cheap.
yeah, so.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
thank you, appreciate
You're
both of
welcome.
them,
Thank
you.
congratulations
Thank you.
again.
Sarah, thank you very much. Be safe, please.
Be careful out there.
All right, Duane Campbell.
I'll let James introduce somebody to you before I start.
Oh, okay, yeah,
I didn't,
just right there, that's good, James,
All
this
this is
is
Kayla Dunn.
Kayla?
Or Kayla Good, I'm
Good.
sorry.
and she's the lady that we just hired to be the cleaner out at the animal
Morning.
control office.
Welcome.
James, is this your daughter?
No, sir.
No, it's,
Granddaughter.
No.
no.
Neither one,
Daughter-in-law.
neither one, daughter-in-law.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you very
Welcome.
much.
Thank you, James, for bringing her in.
So
We'd already
when you go out to
approved it.
visit animal control, on occasion, you'll see she doesn't work every day, all day long, but you'll see her on occasion. This is Kayla.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for bringing her
Yeah,
in.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Y'all doing okay out there?
Yeah, this morning's been a crazy morning.
I
but
saw
we're
you out
trying
there
to get
already.
straightened out.
I
Yeah.
saw you out this morning, so.
Yeah,
How's our
we
new man
pick up a
working
dog
out?
at 5-star, now we're getting ready to go pick up.
How's
another
Elias
dog.
doing?
He's doing great.
Good.
Okay.
He is. He's doing really, really good.
Wonderful.
He's picking up quick and, he surprises me that he's picked up so quick.
Good.
Good,
Well, good.
good to hear.
All right.
Thank you.
Y'all be safe.
Thank
Happy
you for coming in,
Thanksgiving.
Kayla.
All right.
Congratulations,
James,
appreciate you.
we have a
All right.
meeting Tuesday, my chairman said.
All right, yeah, we'll see y'all Tuesday.
It'll be the afternoon time, because I'm tied up in my afternoon. But I'll call and let you know.
All right, hey, appreciate it. See
Have a
y'all.
good-
See
Have a
ya.
good Thanksgiving.
All right, now Dwayne's on. Appreciate that, Dwayne.
Campbell.
Yeah, they walked up and I said, y'all are too late, but anyway, I said, we'll let you come in. Okay, I have two things on the agenda, and,
Sure you'll add a third.
well, I won't, but somebody else might. I forgot which one's on top. I think it's the sidewalk.
The sidewalk.
We have solicited or asked for quotes on replacing the sidewalk out on the 4th Street entrance of the courthouse. And we're looking, the judge has suggested, and we're looking at just putting in continuing the same type of concrete that's on the back side of the courthouse, right on, and the back entrance.
What do you
into
call
this
it?
entrance. The pea gravel
Pea
type
gravel type.
concrete, the decorative concrete. So what you have before you are two quotes. The third person we called said that they were just too busy and did not want to give us a quote, and said the two folks you have are good folks to talk to. So we have made 3 contacts, and the low quote there was $10,300, which is way under our cost estimate, so we're well within budget.
Make that motion. We
On that
accept the low bid.
Second.
All right, motion to accept the low bid, 10,300 from Lee Concrete. It's been made by Magistrate Cullen, seconded by Magistrate Gay. Any question, comments, discussion? Yes, go ahead.
So, go ahead, Magistrate.
I just wondered about, do you know these people or
Yes.
anything about their history?
Yeah, no, the Lee brothers, we've done jobs with
Worked with them before?
forever, yeah.
Okay.
So, so we're taking up the bricks
Yes.
and we're laying aggregate concrete.
Yes.
My grave concern is, you could go to 99 out of 100 jobs like that, and in 2 years, there's gonna be cracking. How deep is it, and what kind of separators are they gonna put in?
It'd be it'd be the standard 4-inch thick sidewalk.
Which is only
concrete.
3.5.
And then we'll decide as we get into it, how many joints we put into it. But,
Those joints are critical, even if they have to do it with a concrete saw. I've got a lot of experience with that. That it will crack unless they're very careful with it.
Yes, you will. I agree with you.
The issue back here will be, we have to keep that door functioning. So we're probably gonna have to have a joint right straight down the center. So we can enter it through at least one door
Sure,
while we're working. So it's gonna be, it could be a little ticklish right there, but otherwise, the rest of it should be fine.
All right.
Be a huge improvement over what we have with that brick being the
Yeah.
significant trip hazard that it is.
Are we gonna store those bricks? Because I know there's some already stored out in Perryville.
We probably will, yeah,
They're pavers, aren't they?
yes.
Yeah. They're valuable.
And this guy gets started pretty soon, Duane?
Because I hope so. I mean, I'm gonna talk to him this afternoon and see what his schedule is, because we need 3 days. And we will, in December, I think we'll have that, but he needs to be able to start pretty quick. we need 3 days where the temperature does not fall below freezing. It can
Right.
get down close to it, but it's got, we just got, hopefully.
All right.
we'll have that.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those like sign, motion carries. Thank you for that.
All right.
Next.
The second item was an item that we had on our budget, and it was a code reader, piece of equipment for both on-road and off-road equipment, so we can use it to check all of our equipment that we have, plus the cars that we have, just to see what the problem may be, and it may be something as simple as a sensor that we can replace versus having to take it to someone and pay them to do it, and then pay them to replace it. So that's something that we talked about for a while, about 2 years now, and we finally decided we would budget for it and get it. So we've checked around 2 or 3, and you can see the wide variety of prices, but this one place that we've talked with, and we've actually talked to them, the 4495 is a very good unit, and they sell a lot of them, so they're able to sell it at a much discounted rate compared to some
Does
of
it
the rest of them.
have good flexibility as far as vehicle types and everything?
And it does, has a very wide, broad range, and has a very good flexibility as far as updating every 2 years.
What does it actually do? Explain that to us one more time.
Diagnostics.
Yeah, you plug it into your vehicle, and it'll tell you where the
What
problem's
the
at.
error codes on your vehicle are?
Yeah.
Well,
Make a
it's not
motion, we
really-
approve the 4495.
Is that your request?
Yes.
Now,
I mean,
we'll-
there's significant
Second.
difference in these prices. Are you
What,
sure that you're comfortable with the difference in the products?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
will this be something that we can share with all the other divisions that have our vehicles?
Sure.
Good, good.
Oh, absolutely.
Anybody can bring a vehicle in, and we can read it.
We can scan it.
Tell them
and
what
that
the
is-
issue was.
Yeah, 'cause I've had trucks use this, and it's unbelievable what it will find
Yeah.
diagnostically.
And we've checked on it. We have a truck right now sitting in the shop, has a certain engine in it, and they can't read it. We don't know what the issue is, and so we're looking forward to getting this thing in so we can find out what's on the dump truck, so maybe we can get it fixed back on the road. So.
Dwayne, doesn't these price differences kind of scare you a little bit?
No, I mean, we've talked to all these folks.
Okay.
Motion to accept
I got
the
stuck
bid from FCHR. Is there a second? Seconded.
Second.
Made by Magistrate Short, seconded by Magistrate Gay. Now we can discuss it. Any questions, comments? He's researched it, and he feels like it's broad and thorough enough to be able to do the business that we need to do.
That's why I made the motion.
All right, you did? I thought he did.
Well,
You made it before he did?
it's okay, you can have it.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
I'm just sitting
Those
over here at
like
the kids'
sign?
table again.
Motion carried. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Dwayne.
Judge,
Yes, sir.
probably needs to be said that you don't get extra money because your name's in the minutes and on the motion. So, just so everybody
That
has
was a
that.
misunderstanding that you had about
If
the
so-
process.
Hey.
Don't make maybe we second there.
John, I appreciate you saying that, but I.
You are the
think-
second
I think
district guy.
Jason and Ronnie think you get paid more.
Yeah, I know it. I just wanted to clarify that
That's a
for the,
good point, John, I like that.
It was on
Well,
the,
so we all would do it, we would have to do it.
it was on
If
the
so,
schedule.
Tom would have
to-
43 bathrooms.
It was on the schedule today to do the patch across Mitchellsburg Knob, and then also patch the road cut there on Lebanon Road.
That's on schedule
That's
today,
on the
but
schedule
it-
today, so we'll see what happens. I haven't been
And
out
last
there.
time you gave us a road report, and you've dramatically improved it. Anything still to be paved? other
Okay,
than-
no, all of our, that's right, all of our research
everything's
is
done
complete.
except that.
And that little dip on 34.
Yes.
Just real quick,
And Goggins.
I have called, Kim Hopkins or Hoskins over at Transportation and told her myself that on advice of council, and that, I'll leave it at that we are not going to sign that agreement to begin work on the trail until we have the assigned grant from the federal government in our hands because of the adjusted amount that they are
Right.
providing
The amended agreement, yes.
in the agreement. So, as soon as I get that, then I'll sign that and they can and practically speaking, it probably won't get much done till next year, to be honest with you.
It may not, but
May not.
I've been talking to the contractor too, so he's aware of what's going on.
And
so.
he's sitting there waiting in
Yes.
the cock position, I'm sure, but,
Yeah.
That's the reason why, 'cause we could be out on the end of the plank without much
Sure,
protection
right.
if we did
Yeah.
otherwise.
Right. And really, I think all we're waiting for is for Secretary Grace to sign it and then to send it back to us. It's at that point, I think, so,
Well, then I'll call his office.
so, anyway.
Okay,
You're-
all right.
you're- You're correct.
Thank you.
Have a good Thanksgiving.
Thanks,
Good
you too.
Thanksgiving.
Yes, all of you.
Thanks for the
Thanks,
Thank
road.
you.
thank you.
the other beetle.
More
All right.
paperwork, my gosh.
Good, you all right?
Thank you. Hang in there.
You like being informed, Phil.
I don't know what, I like it. Oh, my gosh, in color. That costs us more money.
Looks black and white to
I
me.
ain't touching that. You guys got a problem with it? No.
Yeah, you gonna update us on your problem?
Jason,
Thank you.
good point.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
You spray that before you came in with it?
It is clean, it has not been in the back, so there's an extra.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Where's our hand sanitizer right around here?
You wanna start with the IOP first?
Yeah, let's do
Give me the
that,
spray, I don't
let's
want
do that, if you don't mind.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, this is important that Shepherd's House
He
IOP
brings his own.
renewal, that. Okay. All right, Jared, tell us why you're here.
We're just getting that, so Chris redid it yesterday afternoon, all we had to change on the date, I just didn't wanna change it. This is
Right.
why I wanted you guys to
What,
have the final read of the contract.
Little Sanford and Sons, I like
It
it.
just, we
about all
actually
the fun.
didn't have to bring it up for vote until January, but we're bringing it up a couple months early to get it running, so we can run it hand in hand with the grant. And then the language on the second page, I think it's the very top thing, is the language where we've got an automatic renew, which covers the 3 years, which will suffice for the grant people. So we didn't have to.
does everybody
change-
understand what this is about?
Yes, term, under term.
And I did it for the date that you said.
Right.
I mean, I was looking at our old one, it doesn't really technically expire until the end of January.
Right.
Right,
But he needed, it to
some
be the
longevity.
same as what the grant.
Right, for the
Says-
Department of Justice, so we can start that grant on January first.
Does anybody have any questions about this? Go ahead, Tom.
Number 2 on the front page, there is no RRS under Kentucky statutes. That needs a correction there. At the top of the next page, we've got 3 parties involved in this, and at the third line down, 3 words from the end, either party may terminate. Any and all parties, because Mercer could, we could, and you could.
Okay.
So I think that needs to be cleaned up a little bit.
Where's that?
Yeah.
Top of the page 2, third line down toward the end, either party, and we've got 3 parties. On number 3, same page, 4 lines from the bottom, all utilities, middle of it. What's our percentage split of what we pay versus what Mercer pays on utilities? Because that could hit us pretty hard. We don't know. It's not in here specifically.
It's adjusted periodically.
But we don't know what that adjustment is. It's,
7129 right now.
so
For
it's
the
split
year,
that way?
For the year.
Okay. Let's see. Under page 4, number 14, does this insurance encompass the building insurance, which again, we'd be splitting with Mercer, since this isn't on you, it's on us? It's not mentioned.
There is an initial contract that we signed with you guys.
Yeah.
When we signed the first thing, the very first contract we ever did, I signed a contract to be in the building that was provided by you guys. I don't recall what it says, but that's that, and then your million with your umbrella coverage is on us, on Shepherd's House.
Is this covered through,
We pay your $1 million
this covered with
insurance
Hinkle,
fund.
Judge?
Yes.
I'm just wondering, it
Yes.
doesn't specifically mention the building insurance, it's other forms of insurance. I'd check it.
Well, this contract, other than the date, is the current existing contract minus the typo of RRS and
Okay.
KRS.
And then I guess a typo on page 7, under the county shall, the last major section, it needs the word "to" pursuant to this agreement, just like it is in other sections of the entire document. And
Where exactly?
Is that the next to the last page, or?
page 7,
Ours
the
ours
major-
are not numbered.
They're not numbered.
They're not
they're
numbered.
not. Page 7, the county shall pursuant to this agreement.
Oh, okay.
And I think that should take care of it, because the compensation fee schedule would probably be the same county percentage.
What do you,
Folks, I said it 3 times.
Exhibit A, is that what you're referring to? Is it the last
Yes.
page?
It's that page,
It's all
It's at-
together here. I said page 7 3
Okay.
times.
under the,
Mine says pursuant
Mine
to
says
this
pursuant to as well.
It says pursuant to.
Yeah.
You're looking at the one that was.
Jared
Hey, folks,
came in,
if we get documents the day we sit down, we cannot know what we already have that's been improved. That's got to change.
Well,
I
don't
should be
know.
embarrassed if I'd missed it, but I didn't miss it because I didn't have it until 1 minute before we convened.
yeah, I don't.
well, I
don't
think
know.
they realized some things, and instead of like us waiting next week to go over it again, they changed it so we can review it, but
Same
it's been
contract
changed
we
on
have
that
before,
last
Judge.
one. So,
Excuse me?
Same thing, isn't it?
Well, yeah,
you can have it.
I mean, Chris, when you got it to us this morning, right?
I emailed it yesterday evening.
Yesterday evening, okay.
Well, let me ask you, since I haven't had time to look at the one you gave us today, on the first page, did you catch the
No, that's-
RRS?
No.
no,
Thank you.
the last one is the one that's already been covered. So, the last
Hey,
one.
why should we spend time Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday going over this information if we get it changed 2 minutes before we convene?
No one's perfect, Tom. Mistakes are gonna be made. As long as we catch them and they can be agreed upon, we'll be okay.
What's the court's preference?
But I do appreciate your wordsmithing and catching these. So-
I make a motion, we approve this
Second.
agreement, with the noted
With
corrections.
the noted corrections,
Yes.
and made by Magistrate Gaines, seconded by Magistrate Ellis.
Thank you, sir.
Any further discussion?
Your bonus will be in your paycheck for a second.
My bonus is that we have to do this legally.
You know, there could be a way of dating them or somehow putting second draft or some way.
Revision 222.
Revision, yeah, I don't know, I just throw that out
It's,
as a thought.
it would be appreciated, so. Because I
Thank
mean,
you,
this is-
Magistrate Cullen.
Moving
Yeah.
right along, I call for the vote.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. All right, I'm gonna give them a signed copy to take to Mercer. Three signed
Give me
copies?
3, I'll sign 3, I'll leave 1 with him, I'll bring 1 back to you, and I'll. leave one
Judge,
back
you need to make
somebody
those
else.
copies before you sign it, I mean, the corrections.
You
Do
keep
what?
that.
You need to make the corrections before you
Jared, you
sign
can
it.
keep that.
Let me go fix this page real quick.
All right, let him fix it, and he'll print
Did
out.
you get all of Tom's corrections?
Yeah, he got them.
He got them.
On the, where you said term, and you said either you just want me to change to all parties may terminate.
That to me, you're the counselor, but I think that would cover it. And then page 1, the
KRS.
RRS change.
I need 3 copies for them to take to Mercer when they leave here.
And the good
What
news
else?
about this,
Just
renewal
those two?
contract, in January, we'll be able to start our county reentry program with the grant, that we worked to get. So, now that is depending where we're at with COVID in January,
Right.
but if we're able to, we'll be able to start a reentry program for our county inmates.
And just so y'all know, what your insurance policy that I carry is for this. For instance, Roger has a person come in Monday and they say, I'm really depressed and I'm gonna go get high. And Roger says, oh, don't go get high. And then they go home that night, get high and kill themselves. They're gonna sue me, not you
Yeah.
all. They're gonna sue the Shepherd's House. And that $1 million coverage with the $3 million umbrella means if we have to pay somebody, the insurance company pays them, not the Shepherd's House. So that's basically what that insurance policy's for. There's some other things that could happen, but that's the worst case scenario, and that has happened at treatment centers.
Sure,
I've worked at
yeah.
before.
That would kind of put you out of business.
It would put you right out of business.
Outside of, the earlier stuff, I will say that I'm extremely excited to have you guys continue to be part of our community.
I am too.
The work that you all continue to do amazes me. Roger, can't tell you how happy I am to have you back as well. It definitely shows, with you back in the community, at Shepherd's House, what a difference it makes. And so thank you all very much. Thank you for the hard work in getting that grant. And I'm just excited that we have this agreement that we can continue on service uninterrupted.
I'll second that comment.
We appreciate you guys as well.
No, I think it's a great thing that we're doing, and Jailer Wofford, you're continuing to continue, you're pursuing a tradition of your predecessor, and I think it's vital that you have the vision that you can't just lock up people that have a problem. So I appreciate this whole team that we have here.
Yeah, it really works well. Chris and Patrick have come up with new ideas of getting people out of jail earlier, into our program earlier.
Right.
Which helps crime, which helps us, which helps the, helps the person. We got more people working than we ever have.
When you're locked up in those walls, you only have time to think, and it's usually not the good stuff you're thinking about. So, thank you.
Moving right along.
All right, Brian, won't you take over? Roger, yeah, you just go ahead and get 3 copies. One of you bring them in, I'll sign them. We'll let you go.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
All right, if you'll start out with the pie chart, that just basically tells you kind of what kind of medication most of our inmates are on. You can see diabetes is probably the biggest. And then if you look at the orange 38, that's psych meds. So I know Magistrate Haywood had asked last time we were here on a question on our mental health. And then the next page should be this one, which is from Southern Health Partners. And this goes until September. And you can see the number of hospital administration admissions is 10, sent to the emergency room is 38, outside medical visits 104. And then if you go down to seen by medical staff or sick call, 1,100. So we have a lot of unhealthy people coming in. And then if you come down to inmate blood sugar checks, 3,505. That's probably about as many people as we'll book in a year. We run between 3,200, 3,500 bookings. So then the pregnant females, I talked a little bit about it last time, 16, but I'd say that number, we're probably at 20. And that's the most I've ever seen since I've been at the jail. And then the HIV, which is, that's 5, so you figure that's $2,500 per inmate per month. So that's where we're getting that grant from UK, so it's saving us, what, $12,000, $13,000 so far this year. Then you can see the number of inmates placed on suicide watch is 144. That's fairly high, and I think our with the COVID and everything going on and the extra stress is causing that. And then down at the bottom, it'll give you our average daily population. And then Boyle County Detention Center transport report. So that'll kind of give you an idea. We break that down, how many Boyle County inmates we transport, how many Mercer County inmates we transport, and how many state inmates. And then you can see, though, the one at the bottom is we've added new. That was before we were doing testing at the jail. For COVID, we were having to take them to the hospital or to have those tests done. And then our head count today is 187. We have 76 Boyle inmates, 110 state inmates, 21 Mercer, and I'm holding 5 for other counties. New Vista for last month, I think they'd seen 49 inmates. Now that is for the therapist and the aftercare both, so they've seen 49, so that's a good number. It could, we can't make everybody go see them, but the ones that do, I think it's proven to be beneficial for us. Of course, we're still working on cameras. The roof is fixed. We did install the 3-compartment sink from KSD. We had to buy a little piece for it, but it was a whole lot cheaper than replacing the whole sink, and we're using it. It's working. We did have to replace a hand washing sink. I don't know how long it'd been there, but it was to the point it couldn't be repaired. So
the stainless, really?
Not the stainless, but this is the one they have to wash their hands before they prep the food service. Yeah. It's there by the door. So we did have to replace that. We bought a fogger machine. It's kind of what the schools are using. We bought a 55-gallon drum of chemicals. We got it in yesterday. We let it charge and we put it in use yesterday afternoon. I told Roger and them, I said, as soon as we get ours done, I said, well, I'll send my guys up there and kind of fog your alls as well with the people coming in from the public. So I think that'll help. Kind of since they fall under my budget, I think we could do that. Of course, that was paid for out of canteen because that was for providing safety for the inmates. So that was at no cost to the taxpayers. All Tech donated another 55-gallon drum of the 80-20 alcohol solution.
so we have that to use as cleaning as well. We've added a COVID compliance officer to each shift, so basically their job is to make sure social distancing is maintained and everybody's wearing PPE, so mask and gloves. And of course, we're having to do gowns. As of today, we do have 12 inmates positive with COVID, and we're in the process of testing every inmate in the facility. And the way this works is we have to have the test done and in a package to be ready to be UPS'd out by 3 o'clock. They pick up at between 3 and 4, so it takes 24 to 48 hours to get those results back. And we're testing all of our new intakes, our staff as well, because we want to actually see where we're at with everybody so we can move and quarantine. The problem is if you come in at 3 o'clock on Friday, you will not be tested until Monday. So we do isolate those inmates for the simple fact that the lab doesn't want those tests sitting over the weekend. So we can't send something out on Friday and let it sit for 2 days because the lab's closed. So we have to wait till the following Monday. So one of the things we do, if somebody comes in, once we get that, we try to notify all the law enforcement agencies, hey, the person you brought in tested positive for COVID, so they're staying up. We're probably going to need to buy more PPE. We're giving everybody a mask, especially when somebody comes out of a cruiser. First thing goes on is a mask. And we're giving everybody that's in the cells a mask. And of course, we have to change those out daily for the ones we have. So we'll probably be spending a little more money on PPE than we initially had budgeted.
Is the state giving you any money towards PPE, especially considering most of the inmates are theirs?
Well, Judge, we've kept a line item. Are they reimbursing us? Have they so far with that?
No.
Okay.
Because we've been making everything we've had to buy extra because of COVID. We've been noting that, so.
All right.
But keep doing that because that's not gonna come from the state. That'll come from FEMA if we get to collect it.
Okay. So, yeah, we are tracking that. So right now, we have 38 employees. We have 2, we'll probably offer a position next week. So we're doing pretty good. We just had 4 promotions. We had 2 corporals and 2 sergeants be promoted. We're moving right along. Any questions?
No, thank you.
Brian, we spoke over the weekend several times. What's the psychology of the inmates and what's the morale of your staff?
Well, everybody's worried. Nobody wants to get COVID. And our staff, through this whole thing, I have to brag on them. They've done a great job. They've showed up to work. We've had some testing and, would have to stay, but now we've kind of got a little better situation when we do that because we can test in-house. Unless they're symptomatic, we leave them at work. And then once we get their test back, if they're positive, we'll send them home because if they are there, they've already exposed somebody. So that way, if it's a negative, we're not losing manpower. I think the judge who brought up last meeting about we had a couple of folks pretty high on vacation time. We're getting that taken care of. I've got a couple off this week. So before the end of the year, we're working on getting that down to 120 hours. Barring any anything happening, I think we're going to be okay on that as well. But as far as it's one of the things we've done, and the judges, of course, Chris and Ted Dean both have worked with us on trying to get people out that are low level. The judges, we pretty much went into lockdown, so nobody's coming out of the cells. So the judges are allowing us to bring one up at a time, so we don't have a room of 10 or 12 or however many for court, and then we'll kind of spray that room down while we're switching out. So Judge Dodson and Judge Pickler, they're working with us on trying to make sure we keep everybody safe.
Your chart from Southern Health Partners, the very last line down at the bottom, 2 things. Number 1 is February this year, 308. Is that an anomaly for a February?
No, our numbers were going back up at the beginning of the year. Then COVID hit, and then they dropped. They started letting everybody out. So if it hadn't been for COVID, I would say we would be at 3, close to 400 again.
And then starting with April and going on through the end of the year, of the 9 months, virtually 5 of them are half of what the 308 is. Can we be somewhat optimistic that might?
I think it's because of COVID. Because if you remember, this hit in March, And then that's when the Supreme Court put out, the Kentucky Supreme Court put out their
Guidelines.
mandates for the judges, and they started releasing low-level offenders, and they even started, they released some state inmates early as well.
So basically, you're saying as long as COVID's out there, we'll have the low numbers, hopefully, come April or May. Hopefully.
I don't, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. You really don't.
It's bizarre, yeah.
We've never been through this before,
Yeah, you
but
don't
when
know.
AOC opens the doors back up fully, I got a feeling it's gonna
Be
be.
a surge.
Well, one of the things I try to go every month or so, and I just kind of stick my head in the judge's offices and say, hey, Judge, are we doing okay? What do we need to do? And, especially Judge Dotson, he's like, Brian, he said, I'm giving these folks 3 and 4 chances, and they're not showing up to court, they're not going to treatment, they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And he says, but, he says, I've got to get them in court because I have to get their cases moving. And he says, so there's going to come a point where I'm going to have to put them in jail just to get them to court because they're not following my orders. And I understand that. I mean, he's still, and I understand that, it puts him in a tough spot.
There's a time that you're gonna pay the fee.
That's exactly right.
But, I appreciate his willingness to work with us, and he's really been over backwards. The judges, the county attorneys, everybody has really been over backwards to help us.
John?
I have a couple of questions. Is there any more talk about home incarceration? Any, is that on the?
The last I heard is they are trying to get a state contract for the ankle monitoring
Yes.
system. So what they would do, it would lower the cost of, for every county on that. I have spoken with a private citizen who's with the group who would like to be able to fund that. They were kind of looking at it. I don't know where they're at. So it's like in New York, some other places are raising money for people to get out on bond. So they're kind of looking, maybe this might be an option. So they can kind of help the county, they can raise the money. So let's say if somebody's indigent and they have a public defender, and they don't have the money to pay, they're low level, low risk, they might be able to support that with some of that money to help these folks get out. So that's just, I don't know where we're at on that.
Do you see that in our future anytime soon?
I think it's a great option. I think even if the county had to pay for it or a part of it, I think it's cheaper than housing them.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're gonna save money.
Absolutely.
It's gonna probably be it's probably gonna save you more than half of what it costs us to house them. Especially if they're sick and they have high medical bills.
It makes a little sense that in this environment, in this present environment, which we hope ends as soon as possible, it lowers the risk at home opposed to visiting with you.
Well, one, it keeps them from losing their job. It keeps them from losing their house. They can maintain their life. If it's domestic violence or something serious or violent, they need to be in jail. We need to protect the public.
It depends upon what the situation
Right, but
is, and I understand that.
If they're battling addiction and they're not a danger to themselves or others, let's put them in treatment, put them on an ankle monitor, and it'll save the county money.
I would appreciate if you would keep the court informed of that movement, and hopefully that will be a consideration in the near future. Is there any discussion of the cities chipping in to pay for those inmates that live in the cities, i.e. Danville? Is there any discussion of that? No?
That's a dream,
Okay.
John.
But every now and then he'd like to dream.
The only
Case in point, if I'm thrown in jail due to I have an addiction, I come out and I clean myself up and I'm assigned a parole officer. Now, I find a job in South Carolina and I want to go there so that I can have employment. Does that parole officer responsibility, does that get transferred to a parole officer in South Carolina, or do they have to report back to the one that they have here in Danville?
That's the state, so I don't know. That really doesn't fall under me. That's probation and parole. I'm sure they make a way for exception right to people to do that.
Probably that
As long
state.
as you stay in touch with your parole officer. I know some people got jobs outside of the state, travel back and forth. As long as they stay in contact with the pro officer, everything's fine.
Okay, so, but if I'm understanding you right, Ron, they have to physically come?
No,
They don't, they can do it,
all they do is call.
they can do it through the phone system?
And they may, a requirement is every so often, they may have to drop a urine sample or something, just, you know, when they're gonna be home or
They
something.
really, right now, the way things is, they're not even doing that.
They're not?
Uh,
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Come back and see us.
I'll do it.
Appreciate everything all you guys are doing.
You all too. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Brian. Have a good Thanksgiving.
Brian,
You all too.
just to add on to that, there's a reason, I've been
Julie,
I've
come
been
on in.
informed of a case where the judge here did not, I believe I'm
Good to
correct
see
in
you
this.
there.
The judge here did not allow, and that that person had to come back to meet with their parole officer physically. And had to travel back, and it made it difficult. They're back in your quarters from what they didn't do it, and I understand when they did come back, they're back in visiting you as we speak now. And so they are subject to having the risk issue that you have out at your place now.
But
This-
John, they've had to violate something somewhere, you know,
Okay,
for them not to work with their parole officer, you know.
Well, or they just failed to get in touch with him one.
I don't know, I mean, you just don't know the whole case on that, so.
and I may not know the whole story, right, too. So, I understand. Thank you,
Thank you,
Ron.
Brian.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Julie.
Okay, that's good, cool. When you do, that's perfect. Thank you.
First of all, I have a note from Shannon that says everybody does have to attend open enrollment, so I want to say that before I forget.
Run that by me again, I didn't hear it.
You must attend open enrollment to sign all the paperwork.
Even if you're not taking it.
Right.
It's Monday.
Monday at 10 for you
Right
all
here.
here.
John?
Yes. The other little announcement I have before my report is in your packet, just so we don't forget, Judge, is a copy of executive order that you passed in March. We can do this in December, but I just want to bring it to your attention.
It's
It expires at the end of the year.
the declaration of emergency for the county.
Right.
Yes.
And we can wait till next month, but we might want to consider, after
Yes.
you read this, to renew, allow me the opportunity, which I would like to have the blessing of the court to consider that, but we can press forward with the
Right.
renewal of that executive.
Why would
Yeah,
we wait?
and-
Why don't we go ahead and prove it?
Well, you can.
I
Well,
make
I
a
asked-
motion to approve it.
Second.
All right, motion to
Okay.
approve my authorization to sign the continuance of the declaration of emergency for the county. Made by Magic Salmon, second by Magic Gay. Is there any discussion?
Through what date, ending date?
Be another year.
It'll be another year, and it could be suspense or stopped.
You anticipated my next
if
question.
the situation dictates. Okay? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you for that.
Wow. Okay, last meeting, Magistrate Cullen asked me to look into whether you could collect the transient room tax. And so I started researching that, and you can collect that. However, it has to be set aside in a separate account and either turned over to the CVB for their use for the purpose intended, or you could collect the bills and pay it, although I would think that's a lot of work that they're already set up to do. So the short answer is yes, you can. Part of my research, I did kind of look through the ordinances, and I found some things that we might want to tighten up our policies on. I just want to bring these to your attention. Certainly didn't look for problems. I just started to notice some things. One being that the treasurer, employees, anybody that signs checks should be bonded through the county. And that's not being done. So that's in our ordinance, and we should do that. And the second is that we have to approve the bank account where the funds are held. So I don't know if you would like to do that annually, but that is something that you have responsibility for approving, is where the funds are held. And just some other things, the way the appointments are made, I think we need to tighten that up a little bit. You are supposed to get, the judge is supposed to get a list of 3 names for every position on the board, except for the county gets a choice and the city gets a choice. And those are their choices, the mayor and the judge. The rest of the board members have to be mutually agreed on with the city from a list of 3 names. So that's something I don't think has been happening, and we can fix that easily. But the bonding of the treasurer, I do think that's something we probably need to do pretty quick.
I always thought the treasurer was bonded through CAECO, just like the FO, the finance officer.
I thought so too.
Yeah, Keagan and I asked Keagan, he said he doesn't remember a treasurer being bonded. You know, you get a new treasurer every year on a board. And so I do
Oh,
think.
you're talking about on these boards and committees?
On the
Yeah.
CVB board.
Oh,
The CVB
no,
treasurer, yes,
Oh,
no,
okay.
their
This is
treasurer.
I got you. I got
Okay,
you.
I
yeah,
misunderstood.
yeah, anybody that's signing the checks on their behalf should be bonded through us.
Yeah.
So that's something that I'm sure through time, people just forget or they don't know. So, this certainly isn't picking on anybody, I just think
Well,
it's things we can clean up while they're in transition.
Julie, has, the board selected a new director?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
This is very good information, Julie. Thank you for
Thank
this
you.
research.
Okay.
And I do agree with one of your opening statements up there that to review and share our findings with the CVB board. So
Right.
hopefully that'll be done, and we can have a time to get together with them and work through some of these issues that need to be cleaned up.
I agree, Magistrate Gay. Julie accommodated me for about 20 minutes yesterday, and to go over some of those same things that she's mentioned here. First of all, there were some very significant shortcomings, even beyond the treasurer's report, in terms of how things were being operationally handled on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis, that we can now address here just simply by accepting her tremendous report here. We talked about the taking over the tax collection. Who wants that job? But we do have direct oversight, and we need to be able to exercise it without any impediments, such as was run into by one of the board members when he was told that there was confidential information and he could not access that confidential information. That's outrageous under the law. So we do have the ability of oversight. Just one clarification at the bottom of her document on page, number 4 on page 1, right under section 6, it says commission. I'm still not clear whether that means the CVB board or even the state's tourism commission. I don't think it's substantive in any way, but it just was something I raised when we talked. And then on number 5, in checking back on the language, number 5, CVB appointments, the tourism board under the statute, it does say shall be, which is so much stronger.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to make that on your point there. And then, to me, the most glorious thing that she has found is we may not, or the judge and the mayor may not have autonomous control, but they certainly have authority that we discussed in our last meeting on all of these board appointments. And that's been, I hate to use this term, but that's been circumvented apparently much longer than the tour of duty of some of us who were newly elected 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's a good time just to review the ordinance,
Right.
which you have, and I think if you read through it, it's pretty clear. If there's anything that you feel you don't want to follow, if it says KRS on your memo, then that's obviously a state regulation, but anything in the Boyle.
So let me,
ordinance-
let me understand.
Okay,
So it's my understanding that the Chamber of Commerce, their pick has resigned. And so the chamber gets to recommend,
3
Un-
names, yeah.
then they must recommend 3 names.
Yes, and
And-
that's KRS.
And it doesn't stop at the CVB board.
No, I understand
Comes
that.
here.
So those 3 names get submitted to General Hunt and to Mayor Paris, right?
Yes,
And then between the 2 of them, they get to choose
right,
the names.
yeah, and it's
Okay.
clear they have to agree, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Which I can't imagine that would be, it's a great way to work together.
Yeah, I think
The
it's
state
good.
is forcing us to do it, and it's a good thing.
Yeah.
One other question on the bonding issue, which
Yes.
does need to be taken care of sooner rather than later. but that's strictly a county
Yes,
issue? It's not
that's yours.
city and
Yes.
county?
Yes, that's in the Boyle County Ordinance 460, and it is number 5.
And help me just on,
page
does the
2.
city have a similar
No,
requirement, or
I
is
didn't
this-
see it in the city ordinance about being bonded,
Okay, yeah.
but it is in ours. I don't know.
Most anybody in the county, any county anywhere, fiduciary responsibilities are gonna be bonded most likely through CAECO, because that's just what we do.
Right.
And so that's, I could see, even before most of us on this court were here, that ordinance coming out of that growth of a procedural kind of thing.
This was passed in '84, and there's been 2 minor amendments to it. One being to allow for, it used to be if you had to have 10 rooms to collect room tax, and they changed that. And there was another ordinance change that had to do with the deadline for paying your taxes, the due date, and how you handled past due.
Julie, what about that magistrate's been bonded? I know are we
Oh, I don't
bonded, John,
know.
for a certain amount?
I think we are.
through
I don't
CAECO?
know.
We usually are.
I haven't heard anything mentioned about that lately, so I don't.
I'd have to check and see what.
I haven't thought about it, so I really, but you're right,
Remember
it
some
hasn't,
time ago-
it hasn't, I don't remember a discussion recently on it.
Several years ago, we had to sign something on, remember that on our bonding?
I would say that you are for sure.
Yeah, we
Because I do
signed.
know that the constables are bonded, so, you know, I'm sure the adjutants are also.
Two questions. Have you had any discussions with the mayor about the findings that Julie had here about the selections? And how they come before the two of you?
I have not.
Okay.
yet.
I think he'll be thrilled.
I agree
I'd
as
say he
well.
will be thrilled.
Judge,
One more comment, and I'm gonna plagiarize on Magistrate Kaywood yesterday, because we had a conversation
Said
about
two.
this document.
Said 2 questions.
CVB is a frontline, if not the frontline, marketing arm if we have it properly staffed and great board members. And we've really got to take seriously the next few weeks as we move toward getting that replacement. And thank you, Magistrate Kaywood, for mentioning that yesterday.
well, and I think it's a very important part of our economic development program, and they're a partner within that group and I feel it's so important that our Mr. Montgomery be a part of hearing from us, maybe at our next meeting, and I just like to know what's going on and where they're going, and when they're gonna get there, what kind of their timeline is, so that we can keep up with their movement and get it together. And I think he's part of the discussion because he's our rep
So
on the
you'd
board.
like to have
He's
him
our
come
rep
in
on the
next
board.
meeting to talk
Well,
about-
sir, that is a thought, yes, sir, and I throw it out for everybody to have the opportunity to discuss it. But it's a very high priority with me because of the valuable work that I think they do, and the fact that we are spending money on Constitution Square and trying to make it look and as viable as it is for people coming through, and what I think tourism, now that we're part of the Bourbon Trail, and what tourism brings to our community. So I look at it from an economic development point of view and feel it's a very important part of our puzzle here.
Right.
The other thing I was going to say was, while the chairperson has resigned, there is a vice chair, and I spoke with Adam Gray, who is that vice chair, and he is on top of things. I was actually really happy to hear what he's looking to do and trying to do, and the ship is still sailing. So
I'm glad to hear that. I think it might be good that we all would have the opportunity to hear
Right.
that and ask questions
Yeah.
and find some, he would have the opportunity to have input from us.
yeah, I was very relieved to understand that all the stuff that he's still trying to accomplish and get done. So the work is being done, but yeah, we need to
I hope to be wrong. Somewhere I've heard that he has COVID or maybe under some restrictions.
Oh, no.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope my
heard from about a week
information's
ago,
incorrect.
and he didn't say anything, but a lot can change in a week.
Yeah.
Moving right
So
along.
we know.
Okay.
All right.
Julie, thank you
Thank
for
you.
everything
Thank
you
you.
continue to
Only
do.
what I've
Thank you,
heard.
Julie.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
Great job,
Good
Julie.
report,
Thank you.
guys. Thank you.
You gotta
Appreciate it.
get your mask back on.
All right, let's send
He's talking to me.
our treasurer in.
Who's that?
All right, Keagan, we ain't got all day. My boy.
Now we're getting down to the judge's important issue here, getting a new copier.
Getting the gerbils out. Getting the gerbils out.
On the agenda. I'm not gonna talk about it first, I'm gonna save it for last, so.
Okay.
I passed around the month end of October financials, as always. If y'all wanna come discuss them, we can discuss them anytime. Something that I wanted to get taken care of in this meeting, I had spoke on it last time, was about, the Constitution Square and what you all are wanting to do there. If you all are wanting to draw any money from the grant, or if you're, how much money you're wanting to draw, but that's coming up next month. And there's $42,210.94 on that. So,
42.
210.94.
What was their bid on the, sidewalks? It's about 50,000, wasn't it?
I think it was, we didn't, Duane's already left, but it was somewhere around
Couldn't
there.
we use that money on the sidewalk, Judge?
Well, so what y'all had in the budget was 38,000 on the roof and 9,000 on the park/capitol. So I don't know how.
That should come first, then.
John, what do you think?
9,000 on what?
Just the park/capitol. There's no like
Just general maintenance.
yeah. Well, yeah.
I
It's
thought
not.
we did budget, but I guess the 38,000 was to go against the sidewalk if we were going.
The 38,000 was for the roof.
For the roof.
For roofs
I
over
thought
there.
we budgeted some for sidewalk.
I did too.
No, I thought it was in the neighborhood of $9,000.
Because the sidewalks, again.
I think the
are-
sidewalks went under the 9,000.
Well, we need to
Well,
get the
they're not even
sidewalks.
close.
Yeah.
No,
There's gonna be about 50,000 on the sidewalk, right? On that one of our bids.
I thought it was reversed. I thought we budgeted around 7,000 to 9,000 for the roof once a year.
Right, that's what I understood too. We need to
once
look
a
at
year,
that.
And then the 38,000 was to go against the sidewalk.
Yeah, cause I
bid.
thought we were gonna try to
Well, I
get
thought
one
we
stretch
wanted-
of sidewalk done down there in front of the buildings
Yeah,
because
it goes
it's just
from
Walnut to
Main
Main.
to Walnut.
Right,
Yeah,
that stretch.
sidewalk.
I'm gonna bring up something I've talked about before. This would be very helpful if we had tenants paying a good amount of money for those buildings to help contribute to these expenses, not just drawing down on these donated funds. If we could go ahead and once again, look to consolidate those, where EDP and what EDP is utilizing in chamber and if we can consolidate them and free up a building, we could actually get somebody in there that could pay rent, that could actually help raise money. I mean, if you get somebody in there paying $1,000 a month for rent, which is very low actually, that's $12,000 a year that could go towards maintaining this park.
I totally agree with Magistrate Cullen, and I know the sentiments of Magistrate Kaywood. We've got to do better than just preserving what we have there.
Right.
And we need funds for it. And my goodness, look at the square footage cost of any building in town. And to be in prime territory right there with adequate parking for the number of tenants that we would have, we need to start charging something for it. We discussed this a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I know what I
and
pay on
avoided
Main
it.
Street. You've got another building on Main Street. They could easily get $2,000 probably for that very end unit for a professional office. I mean, that's $24,000 a year that we can take to spend towards this park. That's
And you're halfway toward repairing the
yeah.
sidewalk.
In 2 years, we've got the sidewalks repaired, and then we've got other money. This $42,000 that could go towards roofs. I mean, we're sitting here talking about $7,000 a year for a roof. Well, you've got $42,000 now that could take care of many roofs, and then you can start working on the inside. So
When the roof goes, the building goes.
So
let's have that discussion another day. I do think
Well,
we need
really,
to.
the whole discussion could wait because we're not gonna be picking up bricks and changing it or doing any of the roof repair in the wintertime, so.
I know. I do think we need to get some clarification on where we ended up with our budget discussion, because again, I'm like the judge. I think that we emphasize I know the roofs are important as well, and I felt like we had talked about doing one roof a year at $7,000 to $10,000 or whatever it was.
It's impossible for $7,000 to $10,000.
And then, but the sidewalk was critically important, just because like this sidewalk, it's a terrible trip hazard over there. And so whatever tenant we have in there, we're gonna need to have a good sidewalk for them to
I thought
proceed on.
Duane was gonna get us some figures on, these shingles, cause this is a special kind of roof. I mean, it's just not a simple roof. Is that right?
That's true, but we don't have the money, and we won't have the money.
I was just gonna say, you're right, we're probably not gonna do anything in the winter, but we can only draw on this grant.
Right,
this much.
right.
That's
So
why I'm bringing
Can
it up.
we earmark it to be spent in the new year?
We have to draw it, I mean, I guess we could hold on to it, but we're gonna have to draw it out. And we're gonna have to tell them how much we wanna draw out on that grant.
yeah, so we need to make that decision. So I do think we need to look at the budget and see where we ended up and
You wanna look at it?
and make sure, yeah.
Well, we meet twice more before the first of the year, so we can get the details worked out and either have it on the, 8th or the 17th.
I'd say the 8th, because that way it gives you more time instead of waiting until the last week.
Judge, can we
But
schedule that and get to the details in the meantime?
That four-letter word that keeps getting thrown around, wait, we wait
you
a
meant
lot around here, and then things pop up and something else catches our attention, so we can't keep waiting.
That's just not the way I remember it, but that's what it says, that's for sure.
I mean, part of
Is
the,
that from the minutes?
I don't know, I'd have to look at the
part of the
minutes. That's
reason
just
for the
from
birthplace
that's
committee
what's
was,
in the
one, to
budget,
take
though.
care of the building names, which they've gone through, and then also to see about, getting some use out of those buildings, if I remember correctly. And so they've been in existence. I know that we have people that are interested in office space in downtown, which is nice. So we can't keep waiting, and pushing it off because, like Tom said, we talked about this a year and a half ago. It's good. By the time anything happens, we're gonna have a whole new fiscal court. So
Let's move right along.
Well, I think maybe, this discussion, we ain't gonna be able to solve anything with this.
No.
But I think we need to bring Duane back
yes,
Right.
in this discussion, because he knows more about what we decided to, spend on the roof, what we decided to spend on the sidewalk, and, let him give us a.
General maintenance,
A
yeah.
general
well,
direction
it's
there
also
what
good to
we
have him in here
decide on.
because I had spoken with him and asked him to kind of give an idea on how we can make the third floor of, I believe, Building 2, I guess,
The heating
usable.
problem?
Usable, and he was gonna come back with some ideas, and I haven't heard on that one, so
We'll get him in here next board session.
Thank you,
Good,
sir.
Good.
I mean, that's a discussion we need to probably.
That is an important
I agree with
discussion.
Ronnie, I think it will.
But so we can draw this whole $42,000 down, put it in a separate account, and then utilize it for, at that point, we can make the decision. So the discussion on, whether we're gonna do it or not, let's draw the $42,000 down.
All right, then we'll do that. That's just what I wanted to get.
Well, I mean, that's if the
clarification
court
on,
wants to do that. I mean,
Right.
Did we
that's,
draw down last year?
I don't believe
I
so.
don't think we touched it.
We haven't
I don't
touched
think
it.
so.
We
That-
put
and
it
that's the
right
other
back
thing,
in.
you could
Judge,
make it
we
wait.
put it back in, haven't we,
You could
John?
make it wait, I mean, it's not gonna go anywhere.
I make a motion that we draw
It
down the
grows, it
42,000.
grows.
It's gonna grow, but
By
Hopefully.
next November, December, if we don't have a planned program.
What's it invested
It's gonna
in?
be more
It's
next
in the,
December.
If we
community
don't draw it,
foundation,
can we put it back in?
It's
No,
Community
no.
Foundation of
No.
Louisville.
When you say it grows,
so they're off a principal amount of 375,000,
correct.
and then the grant can grow, because I guess it's building interest there off of that 375,000.
That was my question, is
Yeah.
what is it tied to as far as the
Yeah.
investment structure? Is it just an interest-bearing account? Is it tied to mutual funds? Is it tied to, do you know?
I don't
And if
know
you
the
don't
answer to
know,
that.
that's not the end of the
I
world,
don't know the
because-
answer to that, so
Okay.
I'd have to get you
Judge,
the
I
answer
make
to
a
that.
motion that we draw down the 42,000, and make considerations in our next meeting on its use over the coming year.
I will second that.
Where you gonna put it?
42,210.
Draw it out.
How you gonna spend this money?
Yeah, what are you gonna do with it?
We're gonna make that decision on December 8th.
I don't think we
now.
have,
Or-
2 weeks is not enough time to make those
No,
kind of
no, no.
decisions.
We have to spend the 42,000 this year?
No, you have to draw it in
That's,
December.
exactly.
But
So
that's
we
what
have
I
to
meant
draw the
with
money
motion
down.
being for next year.
But you won't have any draw on next year. It might be like a nominal amount.
I understand.
But we haven't drawn on it since this thing's been inception, right?
And we have things that have to be done.
Period.
Correct. So unless we want to wait to make this decision to December of next year,
No.
we draw it down now, put it aside in a separate earmarked fund or whatever, bucket, whatever you need to.
Constitution Square,
And then we can make
project.
decisions on where we're going to spend it.
right.
So
Well, I
that's,
think we just need to put it back in the account. Leave it till next year.
but then we can't make any improvements on anything in the
We
spring.
can use it out of general fund.
We don't
How,
have it
how
in
about
general fund.
if we do the wait until we get to next meeting and get some more information on the fund, on the
Have Wayne here-
projects,
Have Wayne here with us.
and we still have time to draw it in
You
December.
want to hold your motion till the 8th?
We either do that or we vote on the motion.
All right.
What do you want to do?
I don't see where withdrawing the motion makes a difference, but I'll be happy to if that's the intent of the group.
Let's get the info.
I make a
and-
motion, we amend the motion to, change it to,
I simply, parliamentary procedure, I withdraw it.
okay, good.
Second.
We'll get it handled next meeting. Be good to go.
Good. Critical
Okay.
meeting,
Wayne?
critical.
You thought you were getting through the easy stuff first, huh?
Yeah, I thought.
Moving right along, moving right along.
Yes, sir. Wait a minute, John.
Oh, sorry.
Judge, has there been any consideration about another foundation other than brick by the committee?
Other than who?
I don't think we.
Other than brick, is that the only choice we have for a walk is brick?
We'd
Is
have to
there
clear
any
that with the
other-
That
Heritage
has
Council.
to do with the,
Heritage Council.
yes, over in Franklin. That
So
has
we
to
have
do
no
with-
choice. It
But
has to be
we
brick.
could petition them.
Well, that has not happened either.
Well, they didn't have
brick back
They didn't
then.
have brick back then, that's why
Actually, they did. There was a brick factory, and the owner of that brick
Oh,
factory
okay.
was right there off.
Well,
Center
I
Common.
wasn't around, so I'm
Yeah.
sorry I didn't.
Well, Phil could have answered that.
Well,
Yeah, I have played the brick.
but my only point is, brick is obviously more expensive.
Obviously.
Obviously
We're gonna have
more,
stamped
is there,
concrete,
is
looks
there
like
a
rock.
potential?
Or you could stamp it just
Has
like
there
brick.
been a discussion? Is it reasonable to think about any other type, something other
Well,
than
the
Judge,
brick?
could we get Julie, and I'd help her to research that as your idea of the stamped stone or brick? And we could pursue it with the Heritage Council?
I
Well,
think
and
that we need,
the
Dwayne could
committee-
use our help on that.
The
Yeah.
committee needs to be having
You okay with that, Julie?
input. That's why the committee's there.
Yeah, the
About-
sidewalk on Constitution Square, if the Heritage Council would allow us to print stamped bricks.
Or
If-
anything.
Yeah,
Anything.
any other options outside of the brick, as long as it's less
Right.
expensive and
Yeah,
still
we
period.
need some breadth there.
We've always talked brick, but I just wonder, is there something else?
Should-
We've
Well,
not
it
had
needs to
that
be brick.
I
discussion.
mean, we just paid 10,000 for this.
Yeah,
You
we,
know,
we
that
may
one out
come,
there.
1985.
Brick.
we may come back to that, but
Right.
Oh
at
my
least
gosh,
we've talked.
there was a brick factory right here in town. Yeah, and that beautiful house where the guy careened in and went in the second-story window, and was killed, that house was owned by the brick factory owner. Yeah.
Okay, it looks out of place compared to the rest of the terrain around there. But anyway, all right. We're
Moving right
gonna,
along.
the motion's been withdrawn.
We might be able to do the whole thing for 50,000.
Oh,
We're going on next. We'll have Dwayne
All right.
and everybody else, on
I'll
this
get with
next
Julie.
one. Okay, next.
So this was something that Mary had wanted to get done before she left, and they it took a little longer than expected, but I just need to request that you all approve disbursement for the Steedman track at Perryville Battlefield, in the amount of $271,043.12 to pay to American Battlefield
So
Trust.
moved.
Second.
Motion been made by Magistrate, second by Magistrate Cullen on the Fairville Battlefield Fund disbursement. That would require my signature?
Yeah.
It would have, okay. There is a typo on that that's being corrected as we speak, so.
I got she sent me the update.
Yeah,
so,
I think she
yeah.
passed it out. Yeah.
Okay, it was a combination between my predecessor and my names, which I just didn't think I had my name on there.
Appreciate that.
So anyway, all those in favor
Just
signify by saying
one
aye.
point of discussion. We
Aye.
have an extremely aggressive new director of Perryville Battlefield, Brian Bush. And the things that he is doing, we're gonna be bringing tourists in to the community with what we're doing to expand that battlefield.
Get them to spray for ticks out there, please. Every time I go out there, I'm covered.
1,000 acres of spray.
Call for the
Please.
question,
I'll
Judge.
fly a plane over and we'll drop it.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Financials, we've already done. Right?
Yes.
And the fund account we've discussed, and that'll be brought up next court session additionally. And
Entertaining anybody else, I thought it was a done deal, and the second company there was blowing me up and just wanted to do everything they could to help us out, and had a few more options than the copier we had approved, and it was right around the same price, and they were giving a better service agreement. They were getting in contact with me, and so I brought that to the judge, and I showed it to him, and then we have the third one here. They're way out of, they're way above the other two. But you know, one thing my thing is I would, you know, I'm all about supporting local, but you know, we got a duty here too to kind of, you know, do what's best for the taxpayers, and you know, we're looking at $50 more here on a machine that has better ratings. It's a better quality machine. You know, if they're not here in 2 hours, we're getting 5% back on our service agreement. If we have any problems with the machine, we don't like the machine, we got 5 years, we can trade that in. 3 months, 100%, 6 months, 80%. After a year, it's 70%, and every year, or every month after that, it's a 1.5% decrease for up to 5 years. So, I mean, you could see here, we're getting, for the same price, 5,000 more copies, which makes their service agreement a little cheaper. And, you know, if there's a question about them being able to deliver toner to us, heck, we might not run through that many copies in a year. So, they put one in the machine, one on the shelf. It's got more memory. I believe the second machine's a better machine in my PO, in my personal opinion there.
Yeah, me too.
Well, it's my hope, I mean, that we start utilizing a little less paper, so some of this won't matter. But it may just be the fact that I'm a local business owner, and I think that at the end of the day, Danville Office Equipment's giving us a better price. I mean, we're talking about a copier, we're not talking about a car. I know that you guys utilize it for many things, but in no way am I going to, you know, I think they stepped up, and they're offering a good machine, and I honestly believe if we had a problem, Scott would walk himself down here and help us out, because he's a block away, so.
He, if I'm not mistaken, our treasurer has worked on this, and he walked down there 2 or 3 times that I'm aware of, and nobody would call him back. He had trouble communicating with them, and then this price change, evidently they're not going to give us anything for the copier we have. We thought we were, and then evidently, am I correct on that?
Yeah, this is the same price as when they were gonna take our machine on trade-in, and they.
Right, so they're not giving us anything for our machine.
We don't want them to. The second one isn't giving us anything on the machine either.
Well, look, the man just telling us that this, and like Ronnie said there, this machine looks to me like twice the machine we're getting, quality-wise.
well, you're gonna save on one system, you're gonna save 2 to 1 on your copier toner cartridge cost.
No, the toner's included in the service contract. We're not gonna pay
Another
for,
thing that
we're not gonna pay for anything on the toner.
Don't get me wrong, I love these people down there.
Yeah.
But I think that a lot of times we can take things for granted.
Or
That
be
I've got
taken-
you,
or
and
be
you're
taken
gonna-
for
you're gonna
granted.
do business with me from now on, and I don't think this is right. I think that this company's gonna give us service within 2 hours. Am I correct? Or-
Judge, under parliamentary procedure, I make a motion that we accept the Bluegrass Office Systems proposal from Lexington.
I'll second that.
Now we can proceed with discussion.
All right, motion made by
I
Max
just-
Ellis to approve the,
Bluegrass.
system, and seconded by Magistrate Sanders. Now you discuss.
So, Magistrate Samuels, I greatly respect what you're saying. Have you had a conversation with Campbell Office Equipment? Because they're,
About this?
yeah.
No,
Because,
it's
and
what-
nothing against Keagan, but when I have the conversation with them.
It's not my responsibility, and why would I stick my nose in something that I have?
Well, because
should
there's
not
two
be?
sides to every story, and if you only hear one side of the story, you may feel that.
I believe we've got a young treasurer, and I believe what he's telling me.
Let me echo what Magistrate Sammons is saying here. In business, when you don't get a return phone call and you have to aggressively say, will you sell me this piece of property? And if I remember correctly from a conversation that I had privately with Keagan, that happened either 3 or 4 times. Us pursuing them to sell something to us.
They gave us a thing and we sat on it for 30 days and never got back to them. So,
that's,
we asked them for a copy or a quote and we sat on that for 30 days.
The only thing I'll say on
that wouldn't
though,
disturb me being in business at all. I would be aggressively seeking out.
Let him answer the 30 days.
you know,
Wait a minute.
I've known the salesman for a long time, and I told him I had a lot going on. The copier wasn't the number one thing on my plate. Yeah, the quote expired, and out of my due diligence to return the favor to him, I walked down there, got it approved, got it handled, and from what you told me, Scott knew that I was there on Monday, and had told him that I was there, and he told me he was not there until he did not know about it until Wednesday or Thursday, and didn't even get back to me until a week from court, and didn't even know the machine was approved. And I thought I returned the favor of me taking a month to get this machine handled.
It's my understanding he called back the same day. The day
Well,
you were
you
in
can
there.
check my phone record.
No,
if
no,
you'd like
I'm
to.
not questioning your credibility.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying that when we have an opportunity to buy local,
I agree.
on money that's contributed by local businesses, we should utilize that. We're
Right.
talking about a printer, a copier that hopefully we won't be utilizing too much. Hopefully we can go back to electric copies, which will solve the problem we had today where we get everything printed and put on our desk. If we could actually get that stuff printed and sent to us via email, or not printed, but scanned and emailed to us via email, we won't have those problems and as much paper.
And either one can do that.
Yeah, I'm well aware of that, but again, Danville Office Equipment pays taxes in this community. They contribute to the budget that we have to spend. We're looking at, they actually cost less. This machine costs less. Is this much more? Is this machine better than what we have now?
Can I ask you 2 things?
No. Let me ask you.
Yeah.
But-
The thing that it does not do is doesn't print as many copies per minute as the machine that we have now. It prints a little less copies per minute, but we're getting a lot more options than what we have.
Well,
So the machine that we have now, this one will essentially be better or no?
Yes, it'll be better. It just prints less
a lot more
copies per
options.
minute. It's just a little bit slower on that.
The features.
The feature,
are
we're getting
dramatically
color,
Yeah.
we're getting the scan color, we're getting
Hole
hole punch,
punch.
we're getting, a lot more options. We're getting more trays in there. It's doing
More security.
more stuff. But my thing is,
But none of them. So all of these print 35 pages or 35 copies per minute.
correct,
So no matter which one we choose, they're all slower than this one. Is what you're saying?
correct. But
That-
well,
that's
I
a
don't know.
scheduling issue.
I don't know at this point because it's pretty slow, and you got to sit over there and
Yeah,
play
those
with it.
gerbils are not as spry as the
So
ones were.
after you take it, that machine in there probably at this point is printing 25 copies per minute.
Keegan, walk us through again their
But
commitment
the-
out of Lexington on service.
Well, this is my thing real quick I want to say. Jason just said that he understood that from their side that they called me back that day. Well, if that would have been the case, we wouldn't even be having this
I don't
discussion.
know if they would have called you back. Maybe they called the judge's office. There could be lots of things that happen, but I'm just saying that from the discussions I've had, just trying to fix this as a local business owner, I feel that we have to continue to go local, especially when it's the better price.
But don't you think, Jason, don't you think that us buying from somebody else right now, we've done business, I've been here 22 years, as Kay would tell you, he has too, just about. And we've done business with these people all this time.
Yeah.
I think, me
And
personally, I think that they think they've got us, and we're local, and
Well,
we're
have
gonna
they
do
been terrible
business
to
with
us?
them.
Have
I
they
think
not?
this will send a message to them.
It's not unlike our Farmers Bank decision a year ago, and we moved, in terms of our health
That's right.
program.
But.
No, community trust is local, you can't say,
I know.
or
That's
no,
my point.
healthcare, I'm sorry.
That's my point.
I will tell you that I believe him. and
I'm not saying I don't believe him, I'm
But
just,
nobody called my office, or nobody took.
It
the
would have been
message about
reported to the judge.
it.
I think it's
No.
gonna be a
has
bad
anyone
day.
besides me had a conversation with Scott? That's all I wanna know.
Again, I had a question there, Keagan. Tell us about what they have told you on service if we have a problem.
So, I gave you a copy of it there, but they say that, they got this agreement here that says, if they're not, but from the time I pick up the phone, if
This-
they're not
this
in
is
this
money.
office in 2 hours, we get a 5% credit towards the service
So
contract.
let me throw something at you.
Okay, I'm listening.
So believe me, I appreciate saving money as much as anyone else. What good is that money gonna do if that machine's not working and they're not here for 2 or 3 days because they're booked up, because they're in Lexington and they got other issues, and we're in Danville and we're low end of the spectrum. So they're gonna give us,
Well,
$50, $100 back, but the copier's not working.
Well, the way I look at it is, if the copier's a piece of junk, then we can turn it back in for your 100% credit, number one. Number two, apparently it doesn't really matter if you're down the street or not, it's still gonna take a week's response to get in contact.
Call the question, Judge.
The question about, if it's a lemon, the absolute better deal is from somebody other than local. If it's a lemon, because they give us credit for 3, 6 months and a year, and then it goes.
If it's the better machine, you shouldn't even have to worry about that thing.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
that's a backup to a backup.
Ratings from them, not even from this company, say that this is a better machine. But Jason, I support local just as much as you do. I walk down here to Copper and Oak and pay $20 for a crispy chicken sandwich when I could go to Lee's and get a crispy chicken sandwich.
Lee's
and
is
3
local
sides.
too, don't use that example.
Well, okay, I could go to Zaxby's, get a crispy
Still
chicken.
local.
They're all chain restaurants though. They all come
They're
from
all
a chain.
owned by local people, but
But I'm just saying, I could go down there and get a crispy chicken sandwich for $7 and 3 sides and a large drink. Man, I'd rather come
understand
down
that.
Main Street and support. I'd rather come
I'm just-
support you
Yeah.
at the hub than go to Starbucks.
and I appreciate that.
Call for
I'm
question,
all about
Judge.
supporting the
All
local.
right.
This is more like when the Chick-fil-A truck comes into town,
Well, there we go.
takes
Chick-fil-A.
money,
Go to the
and then
Chick-fil-A
leaves.
truck.
I mean, that's Danville Office Equipment employs people
Question
here.
has been called.
Okay.
We'll do it by hand raise so I can count. All those in favor of the motion to accept,
I have one quick question before this. We already made a decision on, so do we have to rescind that, or is this?
Actually, technically, I'm sure,
yes.
Chris.
We already voted that we were gonna accept the Danville Office Equipment,
Not that machine. Though.
not that machine, but so we never rescinded the previous one.
Let's rescind.
Do we have to rescind our last meeting's decision to accept Danville Office Equipment?
Well, it's a different machine, so that vote should be void.
Well, no, I mean, they went out and solicited bids again.
Counselor?
I mean, I think
What?
that you should vote to rescind it, if that's what you.
Well, I make a motion, we
Second.
send that.
I'm just wondering if we've already made the agreement that we were gonna
Well,
go
I'm
for
making,
this
I'm
other
making a
machine.
motion, we
Motion's on the
rescind
floor.
that.
Second here.
Motion to rescind.
The prior.
Technically, we have to retract the motion. to
I retract
buy-
my motion to buy
because
the
this
machine
has to
from
take
Lexington.
precedence on occurrence.
Okay, I retract my previous motion on first.
And he retracts his
And
second.
I rescind my.
Now, he's making a motion.
Okay, now, the motion's been made by Magistrate Sammons
Second,
to rescind, right, is that the right word?
yes.
Right.
Rescind the initial bid on the copier, and it's been by Magistrate Sammons, seconded by Magistrate Ellis. There's discussion on the motion. There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye by raising your right hand.
we rescinding the motion we passed 2 weeks ago.
Yes, yes.
Okay, that is, 4 hands raised, against the affirmative to rescind and 2, not. Okay?
So now we got to start all over again.
I make a motion to buy the Lexington equipment, that has been proposed in the 3 bid, contract.
I second that.
Motion
And
has been made to,
And I'll take up Magistrate Cullen's effort here because I think it's really important that when things are close like this, that we continue to support our local businesses that pay their taxes here and that we fund and
Payroll
support.
taxes we raised
Jamie,
last year.
every one of us are agreeing with you, but
No.
They stubbed their
we
toes
need,
too many times.
This is,
That's right.
And this isn't like, and like we said before, it's not that it's a huge ticket item. It's an important item for our function here, but it's not like it's a huge ticket item. And so I think it just sends a bad message to our community.
I think it sends a message to Danville Office Equipment that we're not gonna be taken for granted. We spend business with you, we buy stuff from them weekly, don't we? Just about.
Magistrate,
So
Sammons, I
let's
greatly
go from
respect
there.
you, but I think that's disrespectful to not have a conversation with Danville Office Equipment, but think that they've taken advantage of us in some way when you're hearing one side of the story. I don't think that Danville Office Equipment has done anything wrong to this court or this county. I think that they're taxpayers. They employ people who pay taxes. And I think just to try to send a message to them because we may have had a miscommunication in some way that, I mean, you're hearing one side of the story.
Well,
If we all reacted on one side of the story, many of us wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Better equipment.
This gentleman was hired because the judge and the committee who hired him felt like that he was honest and trustworthy, or they wouldn't put him in this position.
I'm not saying that he's not. In no way
And
am
I trust him. If he tells me that he went down there 2 or 3 times, then I believe him. And he doesn't have time to do this on every item, so
And it's a better piece of equipment with more service points on it and more serviceability and 100% turnover of it if we had serious problems with us, and we'd get another one.
Can I say something?
Please talk some sense.
You know, our church, we bought every copier that we've had to down Office Equipment. But if I'm on the committee to buy stuff, but if I'm on the committee, if I call them to get a quote or to get a new copier and they didn't reply my call for 2 or 3 months or a month, whatever.
or even days,
for days.
Look,
depending on your
I would
schedule.
automatically be looking somewhere else to buy my copy.
Thank
They buy all of our stuff from me.
Well,
You had problems with them?
But
Ford does too.
that's not it. Service, Jason, service means a whole lot.
Yeah.
And if you're in business for the county or the city, it look like to me your response would be pretty quick. If somebody wants to buy something, I mean, $8,000 copier, I mean, that's quite a bit of money.
Ronnie will tell you, he and I were in the insurance business, and what's the most important thing, Ronnie?
Service is the most important.
Service.
thing.
So does your church have
He
problems with
knows
Danville
how I
Office
preach
Equipment?
service
Is that
all
what-
the
I
time.
didn't say anything about that. I'm just telling you.
No, I'm just
If
asking.
I'd called them for a new copier, and a new quote, and they never, and I had to call them 2 or 3 times, and they never responded to me at all them times.
And then you go visit them.
And then I would be looking somewhere else.
My simple question was, you said your church buys all their equipment from Danville Office Equipment. And does your church have experience where they've had problems like this with Danville Office Equipment?
No, I'm just telling you, service.
I was just,
Call the question.
Whether the problem is there or not, I mean, they service us, they've always had services, but if I was a business person, I had a business, and I contacted a place to buy something and they never would respond, then to me, it looked like to me they really wasn't interested in my business.
Didn't want the business.
I will say this, and then we'll vote.
I had something.
John.
Okay, John has something. I apologize, John, but I've been close enough to this treasurer to realize he is a very detailed person. And there are 2 sides to every story, but I'm gonna fall on the side of believing this side, because I've seen it myself here in the courthouse. So, I agree, it might not be the perception of what Scott is understanding, but I know what is true by my own eyes. John?
First, we've hired a very fine gentleman to come in behind
Amen.
Mariah.
Amen.
Now, I do not feel, though, I have to agree with everything that he says. He and I can disagree respectfully. So, if I disagree with him, it will be respectful, and I think he's man enough to where he'll understand that it's okay to disagree. However, I think we have to think the message that we send out. Jason and I, every day, say, whether you're downtown or you're in Boyle County, support the people who are downtown in Boyle County. We say that, so we, in my opinion, need to demonstrate that. Things being reasonably close, reasonably equal, I'm going to go with the people who pay property taxes. I'm going to go with the people who create jobs and therefore creating payroll taxes. I'm going to go with the people who also pay inventory taxes, which is the biggest tax that I pay on inventory of all the others. The inventory tax is the one that costs me the most. Now, there's talk inventory tax could go away. Folks, in this environment, I will be paying inventory taxes for the rest of that I'm around. And it's not going to go away. As much as I would like to see it go away, as much as I feel like that it's not a fair tax because I use that money to create jobs, to create payroll tax. But I think we have to show things being close and reasonable, that we lead the way in demonstrating to the rest of our citizens in the community that we buy local.
Regardless of how we're treated.
Sir?
Question.
You're saying regardless of how we're treated, if we're not getting any service out of them and they won't answer, we still gotta rub their backs. I disagree with you.
Sir, I respect your words. Sometimes we all may mistreat people and may misunderstand people, and we may only hear one side of the story. Sometimes it helps us to say, what has the highest priority? In creating jobs, in creating tax revenue, and buying local is a higher priority than what I may feel like whether somebody, which is a judgment call, whether somebody should have treated me a little bit better. The bottom line is how much money we can do to make our county be able to deliver the goods and the services that they expect, and that we make every effort to deliver the very best that we can. That's why we have an EMS and we have different departments that go beyond the call of duty. We have employees that deserve higher pay. Go beyond the duty to do the work that we do here and that we try to do here.
John, I don't think we're disagreeing with you one bit, but I trust this, like the judge said, I trust this young man that we've hired.
And I do
trust
too.
Everything he said.
I do too.
And I think that the service that they gave him and trying to buy that, he's twisted their arms, trying his best to get to buy a machine from them.
And you have every right to feel the way that you feel, and I have the right to feel the way that I feel.
I want to repeat what I said earlier. We changed health providers a year and a half ago, and the service has been remarkable. And I think we are not at all being taken for granted by that new provider in that, and I think there's a parallel argument for what we're looking at here.
I don't want to hear.
That was an out of area.
I don't want to hear another complaint about EDP and Pittman Creek or anything like that, because what we're doing is we are snubbing our nose.
Apples and oranges.
No, it's not. We're snubbing our nose at a local business that, like John said, pays taxes here. We're looking for economic development. Well, heck, Danville Office Equipment, move out of Danville because, you know, we don't really care. We'll just buy from Lexington, and
The
we'll have another business on Main Street shut down. It's okay because somebody's feelings got hurt.
The
So-
reason that it doesn't draw a parallel argument is that we
'Cause you don't
didn't
want it
stub
to.
our toe. EDP stubbed their toe on Pittman, and we didn't pursue, as we should have, with our partner, EDP, keeping Pittman. That's a totally irrelevant argument. Judge, call the question.
It's not an irrelevant argument.
I would like to make
Call
one
the
statement
question.
before we vote. I think it's important, from my perspective. I love buying local. I lived here all my life. I want to buy local. But there is a point where if we request a bid, who says that bid has to be, we send out the bid specs of what we need, okay? And that bid was complied with. We wouldn't be having this discussion today if the locals had responded in a timely manner after we approved the bid 2
Amen.
weeks ago.
That's right.
They didn't know it. And they didn't care for nearly a week after that. So the fact that now we'll get a better copier with color, fewer gerbils, nearly the same speed, and at a cost comparable to what we accepted the bid on, a black and white copier, at virtually the same price 2 weeks later, is only because they didn't respond in a timely manner to his walking down there, to our accepting their bid.
Can I ask one question?
You're interrupting.
Go ahead. I'm basically made up on it.
Because this matters, it's not, several companies from outside. Would you take time to maybe have a conversation with Danville Office Equipment before can we
Call
put
the
this?
question.
Can we
Call
put
for
this
the
off
question.
for a week? For a next session?
So
Would
the
you have a
public knows there's a 1% difference, not even a 1% difference. in
Tom, don't
what
interrupt
we
me,
pay.
okay? I'm having a conversation here. Don't interrupt me again.
You interrupted the judge.
I asked if I could
Amen.
ask a question. That's how you do it. Can I interrupt you? Can I ask a question? That's what I did. Stop trying to shut me down. My question is, because I'm trying to save jobs in Boyle County,
I understand that.
would you take it upon yourself, maybe, you could say no, and that's fine, this is my last ask, maybe have a conversation with our local business owner and ask what happened, and then we can bring it back and have the vote come next meeting.
Motion on the floor.
Well, it's gonna take too long to get a machine anyway. How long is it gonna take us regardless? It's gonna take a month, isn't it?
He said a week.
But here's the deal, can I just say this and I'll just be done, I think that everybody's going at it, but are we gonna have to call Scott every time there's a problem?
We've never dealt with this other company, so we don't even know.
But I'm just asking, are we gonna have to
No,
call
you-
Scott every time there's a
I
problem?
honestly think that, again,
Because this isn't the first time there's been a problem with the salesman.
No, this is not the first time.
And even my predecessor said that. And we shouldn't have to go to Scott every single time that there's an issue. It should just be addressed, handled, and then going forward, we're loyal customers. We should be getting treated just like a brand new customer.
Call for question, Judge.
so if this other company doesn't, follow through and you have to keep making multiple phone calls, you're gonna drop them too and say,
If this other company, I guess, like you're saying, if they're terrible, the machine's apparently terrible,
You get 100% back.
we'll take it right back, and then we'll be right back at DOE on our hands and knees begging for the service, I guess.
I would just, again, we've only heard
I
one
mean,
side of the story.
I don't, but.
We can disagree, but we've
Oh,
only
no,
heard one
and
side
I'm
of the story.
completely fine. It's just, I'm a little upset because I don't really care either way. I just think the other machine's better. It's not that I love this BOS, want to go with them 100%. But when me and you talked on the phone, there was kind of a different conversation. And I wish you would have came to me in private and said, you're kind of saying there's one side of the story and you got a completely different understanding from the other side. I just wish this is something that just shouldn't have been discussed. We should have just taken that, and me and you should have discussed that and got that figured out before the board meeting.
I did bring it up. I said that they had a different side of the story, and I thought maybe you guys would have worked it out, but.
Well, they didn't call again. So he called me yesterday, Kyle called me yesterday at 3 o'clock, just to see if there was anything else they could do. And I told them this other company is gonna be $1,000 to $1,500 cheaper if you take our machine. So why don't you just either take our machine and take $1,000 to $1,500 off, or let us keep the machine? And somehow, the trade-in value, when we were giving them the machine, is the exact same as us keeping the machine. There was no price difference in us keeping the machine and them taking the machine on trade-in. And I don't know how that works, but.
So they lowered their price down without taking the machine in?
No, they kept the price the same without taking the machine in. That's what I'm saying. They weren't gonna
That's-
give us
yeah.
anything for our machine anyway.
You and I are
But they
saying,
were
you and I are saying the
yeah,
same thing.
They weren't, they were saying they were gonna give us $1,500.
So he called you yesterday to follow up to see if there's anything else they could do. But he hasn't been calling or following up or anything like that. It just, yesterday he called to follow up. I'm sorry, I'm passionate about local. And when we look to snub our nose at somebody else that's local, and I understand what you said, you know, about buying local. I get all of that, but I'm sorry, I, as a person that owns 2 local businesses in this community that realizes how much I contribute to this community, realizing a company like this, what they contribute to the community, when we've raised taxes on them, we ask for all kinds of things. I think it's, I don't know, I'm gonna be passionate about it, so that's where I'm at.
Well, I think we still need to send a message to them, that we need to, we expect.
I just hope they send a message back to this court.
Question.
All those, in favor of, we have rescinded the initial offer, and the motion is to accept an offer from outside the local community. All those in favor, raise their right hand. And those opposed? I vote in favor of going with BOS.
Thank you, Keagan.
Thank you. Sorry to take up so much of your time.
No,
Well, we apologize for you.
we've got to have these kind of discussions.
Yes, you've done a great job. We appreciate you.
All right, we'll go around the room for committee reports.
Okay. On Thursday of last week at 9:20, we convened a Public Works call. The judge, thank you, Judge, for being involved in it, because we had some very important issues to cover. It included Magistrate Cullen, Duane, and the judge and myself. And I'm going to ask you guys for some additional input. All the mowing on all the roadsides has been complete, and I don't think we're going to have any more growth. The same on trees and bushes and cutting trees in areas all over the county. Thankfully, and Magistrate, thank you for your work in conjunction with the playground equipment that was installed. Magistrate Short, thank you. All over the county, entrance tiles were installed. Resurfacing has now been completed on our 2 funds on 11 roads. Discretionary fund requests are in for Allen Springs and Stewart Lane. Importantly, and I made sure to make this part of our discussion the other day, there were other issues I know that Magistrate Cullen brought up, but the one that I particularly brought up was the long arm, which is the bush hog that goes up at a 90-degree angle, and there's probably not an area that we don't use it in the entire county. It is aging, to say at least. 2 years ago, when I was first elected, we noted that it was constantly breaking down. I know that Magistrate Cullen has realized that, and it's really slowed down the work. We've paid probably way too much money to have that refurbished time and time again, and I will be coming in the early spring when we talk budget with a recommendation that we replace that. That's basically the areas, Magistrate Cullen, that hit on my hot buttons. You had some others, your bridges and things like that we touched on.
Yeah.
Anything to add to that?
No, it's your committee report.
Well, I know, but we're co-committee members.
I thought you wrote it down.
I did not write down your specifics, no.
No, I'm fine.
Okay. Judge, you had some input, anything that I missed?
No, I agree with you that during budget time, we need to look at a different long arm, capability that will, this one is about reaching
it's
useful
real,
life.
it's real old, so we
Yeah.
do need to replace it.
I don't think it's exorbitantly expensive, if I recall seeing.
The replacement
8 or
is-
10 grand?
Well, they wanna buy a machine.
No, it's about 138 for the
Yes.
replacement.
Yes. They wanna buy a whole machine with arm and everything, so.
But it's designed singularly for that purpose.
Yes.
So it can't do both?
Can't do
It
both.
can't lay down?
Yes.
as-
Oh, it
Oh,
can.
okay, all right, yeah, okay.
But it's not a tractor and an attachment.
I was thinking
It's
that,
it's
I looked into attachment replacement.
Special use device.
Gotcha. Well, that'll serve us all extremely well.
Anything
Thank you.
else?
That's it, Judge, thank you.
All right,
I don't have anything.
I don't hear you, Judge.
Mr. Cullen.
Sheriff's Committee met this morning, 11:24. Present were myself, Magistrate Kaywood, General Hunt, and Sheriff Robbins. Tax box outside is being utilized well by the public. Tax collections are ahead of what they were the previous year. Sadly, we're going to see that Deputy Sellers will be retiring at the end of November, along with his partner, Petey. And then, most importantly, cameras are expected to show up in January. Sheriff's working to get all the proper fittings for different vehicles. And that is my report.
That's
I think we should accept,
we should.
Magistrate Ellis's report into the record. So you wanna make a motion on that?
So moved.
Second.
Seconded. All those accept the report as given, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Same thing. For the Sheriff's Committee report, motion to accept.
I'll make that motion. Second.
Which, I didn't see. Motion made by Magistrate Kaywood, seconded by Magistrate Gay. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign.
We can
All right.
accept it, they can.
Next.
I mean, they can accept it, we can.
Are we gonna do committee reports, or is this for the general?
This is committee report.
Okay.
Right there. Nothing? All right, so that's all the committee reports we have for right now. Then we'll go into new business.
Okay. I think I don't know whether it's a motion or what, or just a statement of support from the court. You've all seen probably on Facebook, and I think even in the newspaper, the job fair that's coming up next, I guess it's a week or 10 days away. But it's critical, I think, that we voice our support for that job fair when we're 671
It's number 6 something.
jobs going begging out there, and we desperately need to convey that somehow, if it's a statement by the judge or what, or a formal motion. But it's going to be countywide and trying to bring in people from other counties as well. So that's one issue. I'm pretty optimistic, even though our economy is in jeopardy, to say the least. But with old grants like the Ford Foundation and others, with your permission, Judge, I'll talk with Julie, but I think when we get a new director of CVB in, perhaps he or she should get involved with us over the winter months in looking at grants that are still available by these mega million foundations all across the country that fund things like Williamsburg and help them along in tough times. But I'm cautiously optimistic that there could be a grant out there to help us with our $500,000 or more of work that's going to need to be done on our buildings, on the roofs, on Constitution Square. So with your permission, I'll talk to Julie about that.
That's fine.
Thank you, sir.
Press on. Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
That's for sure.
I would, like to wish everybody a good Thanksgiving. It's a time for all of us to be thankful for what, our life, and what God has done for us and our families, and protecting us in this time. So I just want everybody to be thankful for what God's done for us.
Appreciate
Have
that.
a good Thanksgiving.
Amen.
I'd like to, more or less amen what, Magistrate Short had to say, and just wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and I'd like for the 3 guys that I'm looking at, you're still our friends. We all, like John made the comment, I like that. If you disagree, that's just your personal opinion. Nothing that I'm gonna hold against you. We're all friends. We disagree, we go ahead. I probably shouldn't say this, but I wish it hadn't come down to the point of a split vote. I think more of us should have been together than what we were, but that's my own personal opinion. But I just wish all of you happy Thanksgiving. Take care of yourself and your families.
Appreciate that. Chris?
I'm in charge of recruiting persons for December the 11th, ring the Salvation Army bell at Kroger. It's wide open right now, all time slots from 10 o'clock all the way to 8 p.m. So if any of y'all are interested in doing that, get with me and I'll sign you up.
What did he pay?
You know, I don't know if people tip you or not. But,
Your mama make any brownies for us?
she might do that. She might do that, but I mean, it's a good cause and.
Yes, it is.
It is a good cause.
When you're ringing it,
It's fun. Last year I actually took my little speaker with me and I was playing Christmas music and trying to sing along. And I took my girls and it's just it's fun to do it as a family. I really enjoy that. So.
Tom and I'll take you 1 hour. What time do you want?
Let me look at my calendar.
All right, well just get with me. So.
Yeah, we'll ring it an hour.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
All right.
Yeah, just again, like Magistrate Short and Salmons have said, happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Happy Thanksgiving to you all. We do have a lot to be thankful for, and
Amen.
God has blessed us more than we deserve.
God
That's
is
for
good.
sure.
Glad His grace is sufficient for all of us.
Exactly. Amen.
I agree with all. John?
Well, I'm the same as what's already been said. I wish everybody happy Thanksgiving, and we are blessed. Sometimes it's a little tougher than other times, but we overall are very blessed. I will report that the discussion I had last meeting about feeling that our mayor and judge should be on the Boyle County Industrial Foundation. I received a call from their chair, and we had a great discussion for about an hour, and he's very much aware of where I am on it, and he will have a discussion with his folks, and it moves forward. So my point is, we have discussed it. It is still on the table, no final decision yet, but it is moving forward, and I appreciate the opportunity to offer our position. I think we all received some discussion about the recycling center, and my question is that fully been satisfied? Are those who wrote, are they happy now?
I feel like the question has been answered, and some of the responses by email that I have received appreciate the response or the explanation as to why the slots and the lock and all that from the water protection. And people, once they knew the logic and reason for it, I think have accepted that explanation.
Good. I think they wanted us to be sure that we did explain our side, and I think you all have done a good job of that. And I don't know if we'll continue to hear from it, but hopefully they know that we are interested in that we have responded to our citizens. So I think that's very important that we always respond to them. That's all I have, Judge.
I would like to bring up some discussions that some of us have had this past week regarding the continuing examination, in which we are doing, of a potential for a noise ordinance or an ordinance that addresses noise throughout the county. That is a very detailed thing that we are examining and looking at, not reinventing the wheel, but looking at what is something that is viable and will work. And so just throw that out there. If Jason or John have anything they'd like to say about that?
Well, it's something that we have under consideration, and we are looking at all sides of it and how it affects everyone. And we'll make decisions going forward, and the court will be kept aware of those as that progresses.
I think it's a slippery slope to go down, so I don't know. I see the idea for it. I don't know if it'll solve the problem, so I don't know if we should really create more problems with it.
Well, we'll just examine, we'll discuss options available to us as we go forward, but it's not something we're gonna stick our head in the sand on in regard to that event, you know, that consideration being something that we need to look at.
I think there's other solutions that doesn't involve the court that could be taken.
And that's probably absolutely true in most cases, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not only the noise ordinance, we're looking at everything, so.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I think this noise ordinance is something we really need to look at. I'm getting calls from my neighbors, matter of fact, still got the problem on Pearlville Road with the guy with the dogs, and he's turning them out in the evening, and it says they don't have but 2 or 3, but they're continue barking. I can hear them from his place up to my house, and it's just aggravating the neighbors next door, and it's something we need to take care of.
We're in the process of evaluating all the considerations, options, and languages that are available to us, so. The other thing I would like to bring forward is, I would like to request of everybody that is looking at, because I don't get every email, or Ann doesn't get every email that you guys may get, like from KMCA on training. If you want to sign up for training, I would respectfully request a 48-hour notification of your intent. If you want to do it here, that's always an option. My office in here or whatever, but we can't read your mind. I'm not trying to be coy here. We need to know what your intent are. You may not want to do the training. You have to let us know. If you'll let us know 48 hours before the scheduled training, we'll make sure you're registered, covered, and taken care of.
Thank you.
Okay? Personnel committee will deal with, I've used the term, maybe there might be a better term to use, non-routine personnel actions, like growing jobs, or something that is very specific and detailed. Something that is routine, like a hire on a personnel action, that is by routine. I remember we have somebody leave for whatever reason, needs to be replaced with somebody new for whatever reason. I think that will not fall to the personnel committee per se. That will fall to the committee in charge of that respective department or area within the county government. I.e., an animal control officer hire, full-time, would go to the ACO subcommittee. Same thing with EMS, or whatever, okay?
Right.
Public Works. So those committees will have their interview responsibility to work with me and Shannon on the interview processes, be involved, and make the decision recommendations to the balance of the court. Okay. I would like to say something in closing. Well, there is a new pamphlet that's around town, and I would recommend you try to get a copy of it. Here's what it looks like. This is a new pamphlet that was put out by the Heart of Danville and the Garden Club of Danville, and it's absolutely outstanding, but it lists and numbers the types of genomes of trees in Constitution Square. And there's virtually every tree out there is different in one way, shape, or form. So that's a good thing to help you become more aware of what's out there, and I thank both Heart of Danville and the Garden Club for their excellent work on this publication. I would like to stating my deep appreciation for an employee who is retiring this month, and that is Ralph Smith at our Department for Solid Waste. He has been an excellent, dedicated employee for over 20 years, and one that we will miss. And I would like to commend him on his his professionalism and his due diligence of being there and supporting all of our activities in that department and division throughout his years. And he will be missed. He is a manager of personnel and people. And I just, again, like to adjourn today in recognition of his dedicated service to the county and upon his retirement, and that is Reverend Ralph Smith. So, does anybody have any alibis whatsoever?
I think that's great. Ralph's done a wonderful job. He's always been there, and we've never had a complaint, have we, John?
No.
With that being said, we adjourn in honor of recognizing Ralph Smith's retirement, and thank you, and this court stands in adjournment. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.